Generation, the home of urban soul. In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generations, the people's breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The people's breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
A very good morning to you. Welcome to Radio Generation. This is your number one station, of course, for the bestest of music. And, of course, being the people's breakfast, we give you all the information that you need every single morning. A very good morning. My name is Mungala Mbuvi.
Good morning. My name is Triciah. Wayua. And, of course, here, as Mbuvi has told you, you get the real talk.
Yeah.
We have conversations that are real. They give you the hard truth.
Yes.
And, of course, all bold insights. This is the people's breakfast, going from 6 a.m. up to 10 a.m.
How was your sorry about that. How was your evening? How was yesterday? How is the reception? People are telling you they're liking the show?
Well, people are liking the show. Of course, I have friends who are listening. We have new listeners also.
Yeah.
And they are liking it. They are liking it.
Right. I'm also getting similar feedback. You know, people tell me that everything is fantastical. They're liking it. They're loving it. And that's how we're going to be doing it every single day going forward, of course, on weekdays. Today being the 19th day of June 2025, of course, a lot has been happening, and we shall definitely be keeping you updated on what is happening on the ground and in the news as well. You know, it will even start with some shout outs. Kuna watu lazima wasalimiwe.
Yes.
Our families, of course, they like supporting us so much, and we love that particular support. Thank you so much. And of course, the fans. How can we forget the fans? So, in case you're wondering where you're going to find us at Radio Generation Kenya across all platforms. That is on Facebook, on Twitter. I keep on calling it Twitter. X.
It's X
yeah.
now.
So on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, and TikTok as well. That is definitely where you're going to be getting us.
You got to remind them that they can also listen to us online at rgk.co.ke. By the way, you get in there. That is our website, and you also find our online radio there, so you can join the conversation.
And of course, in Nairobi, it's 88.8. In Mombasa, it's 90.7. And if you're listening to us in Garissa, it's 89.5.
Those of you in Malindi, it is 92.1, Lamu 92.6.
Right. So we're going to be telling you what's happening as far as rgk.co.ke is concerned. So in case you have never logged on there, let's log in together so that we can move together and tell you what's happening as far as the news is concerned. And we always say that yesterday's news is still relevant this morning, because kuna wengine wenu mnalala kama mapewa sana. Mnaingia kitandani mapema kama mimi uingia kitandani mapema.
Yeah, kuna watu party, by the way, at that opportunity to get to listen to the news or watch the news, and therefore it is important that we update you this morning. And by the way, George, sorry, why am I calling you George?
Is that your significant?
Not. Well, I was looking at today being the 19th. Of course, it is a day we have special occasions. There are some. This is a day when the U.S.
Yes.
They call it the Juneteenth,
yes.
Day.
Yes.
It's all about the federal holiday, whereby they commemorate, or it is the 160th anniversary. That is the turning point of fighting slavery in the U.S. 160.
Okay.
Yes.
Slavery.
Yes,
since
in
it was
the US,
abolished.
Yes, it was abolished.
They take it very seriously in that country. Matters to do with their freedoms, their liberties, and so on and so forth. So, on behalf of RGK, tunasema big shout out to Americans, and especially people of color in the US who are celebrating Juneteenth. Yeah.
Well, it's also another day where we observe the sickle cell day.
Oh yeah, I actually saw a couple of documentaries yesterday across some television stations. Africans.
Yep.
Talking about, sickle cell anemia survivors, or they're actually called warriors.
Yes,
because
warrior of sickle cell, yes.
They're currently going through the disease. They're currently battling with it. And, it's not an easy place to be. It's not an easy disease to have as well, because they say that number one, it's genetic, so chances are you're born with it.
Yeah.
And a lot of warriors never get to see past their 14th birthday, and we're having adults who are living with this particular disease. So indeed, those are warriors. Every single day might actually be your last, and I cannot imagine living such a life,
knowing that maybe tomorrow, maybe my day will be my day. That is really, it's not it's devastating.
Hata ukipata kitu kama homa hivi una panic because
unaanza kusema okay, ndo imefika.
Naam.
So it's also another significant day.
Yes.
It is the sexual violence in conflict stricken zones. Sexual the day of ending sexual violence in conflict stricken areas.
So that means places that are undergoing something like war.
Yes.
One of the biggest one of the biggest weapons that an enemy uses in a war zone is actually sexual harassment or sexual how do I put it, things like rape.
Yes.
And we've seen and read situations whereby even men undergo sexual harassment in war zones. So that is something that definitely needs to be focused on, so that we can just focus on the conflict and what is bringing us into that conflict and how we can get out of that particular conflict.
Sure.
Yeah.
So as we start the day, also I am here to remind you that the only way to do great work is to love what you do. This is a quote by Steve Jobs.
They say,
the only way to do great work is to love what you do.
Steve Jobs.
Yes.
The late Steve Jobs, former CEO of Apple.
Yes.
And we usually say in the art industry, in the entertainment industry, or basically in the industry where we entertain individuals and Kenyans, we say, do what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And you will never work a day in your life.
True.
Do what you're passionate about and you will never work a day in your life.
Yes.
For example, I love being on radio. I love being on TV. I love talking to people. So I don't feel like easy kazi kwangu.
You don't feel like you've come to work.
Yes.
You are just enjoying what you like doing. So,
Kabisa.
So Steve Jobs tells you that the only way to make sure that you do great work.
Yeah.
Just love what you're doing. Don't just go to work because you are being pushed, or because you just want the pay. Go to work because you love what you are doing, and that way you will find yourself doing great.
But let's also be honest.
Yes.
We love the pay.
Of course we do. We do. But now, aside the pay aside, what else motivates you to go to work?
That's fair enough. Of course, first of all, if you love what you do, and it pays you, then that's an added advantage. So, for example, like I said, I love entertaining. I like talking. I love engaging with audiences, and that gives me a lot of pleasure. It gives me a lot of satisfaction.
Yes.
So that means that I'm enjoying it, and it's never difficult for me to do it. Yeah. And to everyone who's listening, whether you're a banker, whether ni mtu wa mjengo, whether wewe ni mtu wa inaitwa nini, wa mechanic, or you're a politician, you have got to love what you do, not because it is paying you. Of course, the pay is an added advantage, but because you love doing it. And once you love doing it, you'll always wake up early to be in the office. You'll always serve your customers better, or even right. You will always make sure that you're not violating any policies at work, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I agree with Steve Jobs. All right, thank you for that one. Quite interesting. Let's get into rgk.co.ke. Nimewapatia nafasi. I hope you've opened your browsers. The first story you will see there is that of former CJ David Maraga, and he says, "I will restore the rule of law if elected president." Obviously, him being a lawman, him being a former CJ.
Yes,
we expect nothing less. If the people of Kenya do decide to elect David Maraga as the is it 6th president of the Republic of Kenya?
Yes.
We expect him to uphold the rule of law. You remember that election that he let me not use the word overturned, but he said that we had to go back to the ballot.
Yeah.
And there was a runoff between President Uhuru and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. At that particular point, for me, I was shocked because nothing of the sort had ever
happened in our country.
And actually, I think when we talk about the African continent, you can literally count the number of times that kind of thing has happened. And I think Kenya probably, if it wasn't the first, maybe the second or third. We're definitely top 3. Yeah. So David Maraga is someone I would expect to uphold the rule of law. What is your take as far as what Justice former CJ David Maraga said?
Well, of course, that is what we want. That is what as a country we expect. So if he is in a position to do that, is in a position to restore that,
right,
then we are good.
And the rule
we
of
are good. The only problem I usually have is we usually have those systems. Like I've always been telling you, a lot of systems, procedures that most of the time you may be in that position, you want to ensure that everything goes well.
Right.
But then now the systems in there is what most of the time brings people down.
The systems are always controlled by cartels.
Yeah. That's what I've always told you here.
Right. Criminal gangs.
Yeah. You might get into that position and you have the goodwill. You're in that position. You want to do the best for the country.
Right.
But then now the people that you're working with, the people that you find in that system, that is where now things go wrong.
Kunakuwa na kizungumkuti.
Kuja tu pale na good vision, uko na manifesto nzuri. Ukifika pale unapata wapo watu kule ndani.
Is there a politician who never has a good manifesto? To be honest, let's just be honest. Is there a politician who doesn't know what his people need?
Well, some of these manifestos you can always tell. Hii anatutafutia tu nini? Anatafuta tu kura. But there are some manifestos that are feasible.
Right.
You can tell hii inaweza kufanyika. But others unaangalia unaona wanacheza na akili zetu.
Huyu ni joker.
Huyu anacheza na akili zetu.
Interesting perspective indeed, if I may say. But there's one thing I always say. It is not about the manifesto. Me, I think we always need to look at character. I am not saying that I support CJ Maraga. However, I feel and I believe from what I have seen,
yes,
he has got good character. To be honest, manifesto is always something we can work on because at the end of the day, sisi ndio waambia politicians what we need. We're the ones when they come on ground, when we're having those town hall meetings, the barazas or whatever, we get to sit down with them and we tell them, look, Mheshimiwa, this is what I need in my area. We need security. We need better schools, for instance. We need more teachers. We need sanitation. We need drainage. Hapa hakuna drainage bana. And what happens after that? That is when they go and they create a manifesto. That is when they go and they write it down and they say, okay, I've spoken to the people of, George Padmore, and they have said that
this is what they want.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, manifesto unaweza squeezy kuna AI. You can ask ChatGPT to write for you, a nice manifesto. You just tell it, look, I'm a politician in Kenya. My area is either an urban center or a rural center, and this is what I expect, or rather, this is what I want. Na ChatGPT itakuandikia nini tamu sana, a very nice manifesto, and you can come and sell it. But what is your character? For example, have we seen you in and out of courts? You're always in corruption cases, for instance. You're always in criminal cases. You molested people here, or you raped someone there. There was gender-based violence somewhere. So I believe that if we're going to choose someone, manifesto tafadhali shouldn't be the first thing we are looking at. Character is everything.
Okay, yeah. Character is everything. But then now these people also, with that good character, I don't know what usually happens once they get into those seats, those positions.
Yeah.
Something just happens.
You see someone with a good character, someone with
they will not be corrupted.
And you see, that's the thing I'm talking about. Someone with virtues, someone with principles. Once we elect these particular individuals, now they will be motivated because, listen, they are passionate about their job. And we said what? If you're passionate about your job, you'll never work a single day in your life. So if you elect a good leader, mwenye akona sera nzuri, ni sawa, lakini pia kuwe na character power. So that when they get into office, even if they did not have a good manifesto, they will always strive to do what is best for their people. But if we elect you because you came with a good manifesto, lakini behind the scenes, tulikuwa tunajua you're a corrupt leader. Behind the scenes, tulikuwa tunajua ni wizi and all these virtues not virtues rather, but vices that we always try and avoid in people. Of course.
That is what we will get.
When you start stealing from us, surely, who do we blame? We don't blame you. We blame us, because we knew from the very beginning that you're corrupt and we allowed you. We knew from the very beginning that you are a gang leader and we elected you. But then, do you know there are seats we have given to local leaders, whether it's an MP, MCA, senator, governor. Na huyo mtu mlikuwa mnajua kabla hapate hicho kiti. Jamaa alikuanga a criminal. He was in a criminal gang or he was in drug dealing. Na mkampatia kiti vizuri sana. Na mlikuwa mnajua.
Yes.
Then in your constituency or in your ward or in your county, watu wanaanza kukufa na drugs, and then you're wondering, this drug menace. And you know very well you elected a drug dealer, surely.
Me, I do not want to add anything because I do not understand how Kenyans vote. Most of the time, by the way, I do not understand how we vote. Like, what really motivates you when you're voting? What really motivates you when you want to cast that vote for someone that you know is corrupt, for someone that you know is a drug dealer,
right?
And you know very well, So, by the way, I think what comes out most of the time is when we say mtu wetu, ile kitu ya mtu wetu.
Yeah.
That is most of the time what I've seen is really making Kenyans make irrational decisions, mistakes while voting, because ni mtu wenu.
Yeah.
Mnajua vizuri huyu
ni mwizi,
mnajua vizuri huyu anauza drugs. He's a drug lord. But bado hivyo
yep,
mnampatia ndio mtu wenu.
The other thing about, because there are very many things that maketh a leader or destroyeth a leader,
yes,
or does not maketh a leader. When this particular politician comes to you, and sometimes, of course, majority of the times they are aspiring politicians.
Yeah.
Of course, they will use other tactics to ensure that they get the vote. There is coercion. There is the voter bribery. Like on the day of voting, mukipanga pale foleni mkienda ku cast your vote, what happens? Munapatana na their agents, and then they tell you niaje, just ensure you vote for person A, and then ndio hii ya macho ama ya chai ama ya chapati.
That thing I've witnessed this, and it is really so sad.
Oh, you've witnessed?
It's so sad.
Were you approached?
It's so sad.
I'm
telling you, you just go in a polling station. You stand there. Sometimes you do not have your badge as a press person, and then you stand there to watch what is happening.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, a lot of things really happen during that voting day.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah. Actually, these things, they are doing them openly. Let me tell you.
Hawafichi.
By the way, bribes during the voting day nowadays, hawafichi.
It's gotten so bad to the point whereby even other leaders tell you, nyinyi kuleni hiyo pesa, lakini make sure you vote the right way. Imagine that's how bad it is.
Yeah.
Unaambiwa akikuletea hiyo 200, 500, 1000, you take it. By all means, take it. It's your money. But at the end of the day, don't vote because of that 50 bob or 200 bob.
Yeah, because your leader, that 500 shillings that you've been given,
yeah,
you will return it. You will return that through your taxes, through you not getting the services that you're supposed to get from that leader. Because once they get into office, the first thing they look at, I spent this much on these people, I need to get this money back.
Do you remember a time? When we saw on TV? I think it was the 2013 election. I could be wrong on this, but we saw even old people.
Yeah.
I think they were from the Mount Kenya region. Wakibebwa na pikipiki, wakibebwa na magari, wakipelekwa kwa polling station just to ensure that they vote. I don't know if you remember that scenario.
I remember.
There is also another scenario where your opponent can come to your stronghold. So let's say your stronghold is RGK, Radio Generation, right? At Radio Generation, wewe uko na mafans hapa tuseme over 75.
Yes.
So because I'm your opponent, what do? I come to Radio Generation and I buy everyone's ID so that they don't vote for you. so that your stronghold doesn't give you the votes that you expected,
that you're supposed to
do you know that is how bad voting fraud, if I may call it that, happens in this country and a lot of other African countries. So if your stronghold, for example, is Mombasa, there are some politicians who will come to Mombasa and buy the ID cards rather of your voters, and they buy them for as little as even 200 shillings, sometimes even 50 bob, because they come to a place where wanajua huku watu wanateseka, hawaonangi chakula, hawaoni maji. So what we do, tukiwapatia 100 for that ID, ukishamwambia ukienda kwenda kureplace ID yako kitambo ilikuwa free.
Yes.
It's just that the president
nowadays you're gonna pay.
Yes. Recently introduced I think it's 1,000 shillings to replace.
Yes.
But kitambo it was free. You lose your ID, replacement ni bure. So people were being told, well, let ID yako. At the end of the day, even replacing hii kitu ni rahisi, it's free of charge. That's how bad voter fraud in this country was. I hope it has changed. I hope it's still not happening.
No, don't say that it has changed. Yeah, we just need to change it.
Yeah.
Right now, if you're listening to us, if wewe ndo wale wakopewa shilingi 500,
yep,
kwenda kumpigia kura mtu mwingine, na unajua vizuri kwamba this leader, he doesn't deserve your vote, then it is time you changed.
And something else we also need to do, and this is our responsibility also as media, we need to do a lot of civic education. Civic education is currently also being done just by civic groups trying to educate Kenyans on their rights, on what needs to be done as far as your voting is concerned around elections, and also how you should conduct yourself and so on and so forth. And the biggest thing this country is facing is the lack of proper education, proper civic education. People need to understand, first of all, why it is important to vote. Do you know there are people who wanapuuza voting? They actually think of voting on the day of voting. It shouldn't be like that. I think we need to start thinking of who to vote in as soon as elections are done. We need to start looking at our politicians from that particular time. We need to start putting out a scorecard from that particular time. Just like when you're employed, unapatiwa kitu kinajulikana kama nini, KPIs, key performance indicators, and you're told for you to get a promotion, for example, or for you to have your contract renewed at the end of the year. These are the things that you need to have established for us. So for example, if a politician came and told you, I'm going to do ABCD for you, has he done A? Or has she done A, B, and C? See, us, we usually literally wait for the last minute. Tuone nani atanipatia uso mbili, ama nani atakuja na mbwembwe mingi, ni nani akona uniform kali, nani akona ile slogan noma. Yes, and those are the people that we vote for. And I told you this, I think it was on Monday or Tuesday,
yes,
that Kenyans are very emotional voters. Someone comes and they have given you a strong slogan and you're like, Triciah is my person. Umesikia venye amesema? Triciah amesema the people's breakfast. Ananijali, ananipatianga breakfast maze. Huyo ndio tutapatia. That for me to be to be honest, it is just nonsense. You should vote for Triciah not because she has given you a strong slogan, but because Triciah has performed. Sometimes we vote people in because they have an amazing story. Huyu alifiwa alifiwa na bwanake ama alifiwa na bibi yake, ameachiwa watoto 5, akiwa say let's vote for this person because tusimamvotia atalisha aje watoto wake. Like is that a yardstick? Is that how you measure a good leader? Akona watoto 5 and he's a single parent. So now we vote for this person. No, vote for this person not because he's a single parent, but because he can deliver for you. Sometimes you also vote for Kenyans because of ameingiliwa sana na the opponent. Umeona venye anatandikwa kwa magazeti kila siku. Umeona venye ametukanwa.
And I think we witnessed that sometimes back. I don't want to say who but somehow we witnessed that.
We are emotional, Patricia.
We are so emotional.
Yes. Ati sasa Patricia alitoka Mombasa, aki sasa ameteseka huku Nairobi, hata hajaipata kazi.
Tumpatie tu.
Akitumpatie tu. Akona master's degree na hana kazi aje. Tumpe kura so that at least tumsaidie na familia yake, aende asaidie familia yake. And that is why when they get into power, what do? They mess you up. Unaona mtu hapa ameingia kwa kazi na hakuna kitu anakufanyia. After 2 months in office akona Range Rover. And you start wondering,
Saa ngapi?
Barabara, but you told her tunakupatia kura ujisaidie, na anajisaidia. Anyway, so let's look at other stories. I hope that you guys, we're going to do our best, by the way. We're going to do, and especially on the People's Breakfast, we're going to do our best to ensure that every single one of our listeners understands why it is important to vote. All right, so still on the chaos that happened 2 days ago. 2 officers interdicted over shooting of mask vendor Boniface Karaoke. So a story that obviously took the nation by storm. We didn't expect, not a single Kenyan,
what we saw,
expected, because we were in a protest. Kenyans were in a protest over police brutality.
Yes.
And then in the protest against police brutality,
another police
did a brutal thing.
Yes.
And you ask yourself, shida iko wapi?
There's a problem, and a very big one, by the way. Not unless it is we are being played some game. We don't understand.
Last year I hosted as an MC, I hosted an event. It was for security experts, so we had a lot of people there from the military, from the security companies, akina G4S, akina nani. We also had people from the police service, prisons service. So we had people in the security sector, a lot of them.
Yes.
And even cyber security experts were there. And I met a police officer who is a PhD holder. Of course, it was a gentleman. In his level as a PhD holder, he's not your usual police officer that you find in the streets.
Sure.
Holding a baton or holding a what is it called? Amevaa nguo za traffic. This is obviously someone in policy making in the police force. So he's an officer, a very high ranking police officer. And I asked him, Afande, why do we always see these incidences of police brutality, extrajudicial killings, and so on and so forth? And he admitted to me, he said that even within the force, within the policy makers, within the police force,
yes,
or the police service, nowadays it is called a service, it is not a force, but even within the police service, they are concerned and they are trying to see how they can get rid of it. And I asked him, we don't see any prosecutions happening. We never see arrests of officers. I mean, it's not like they're not there.
Yeah, we have seen several of them,
but they're so scarce. It's not like you will see Officer Triciah Wayua was arrested because of at least these ones were arrested, and we can see in the case of Albert Ojwang something is happening. But I believe it's because of the uproar of Kenyans, the anger that Kenyans are expressing. I feel like this should be normal. If services are not delivered the way we need in the police force or in the police service, and we have a legitimate complaint, I feel like something needs to happen. And I understand the police are usually a very cohesive unit. They are brothers in arms, you understand? And they will not betray each other because they are the only ones who understand the gravity and the shida ya kazi yao. Sometimes they tell you, Mbuvi ujui wewe. You don't know why we had to shoot that particular person. And it's true, I do not know why, but make me understand. Let me understand why you had to gun down someone. In this case of this gentleman who was shot in the CBD, and even we said yesterday, I'd like to be in that room when that officer is asked, why did you fire that gun or that bullet? I saw his lawyer. Do you know what his lawyer said yesterday?
Well, yeah, I followed the story, and I saw him say that it was a rubber bullet
from a different gun.
Yes,
it wasn't from his client's gun.
So you are like, okay, so wait, even if it is a rubber bullet,
yes,
why at that close?
Yeah, range.
Yes, why?
When I was watching that particular news story, one thing that came to my mind was, lakini watu dhani wa Kenya ni wajinga. You understand? We have video evidence. The victim was there. Journalists were there.
Yes.
I mean, surely 55 million Kenyans have seen what you have done. Surely. Wewe ni nani? Hata vali wangekuja na something close to the truth aseme, and I'm not saying that this is what should happen, but if it were me, I would have said your gun ili shoot by mistake. alikuwa anajaribu kumwambia wewe toka hapa, then something happened. You know, it just fired itself. But saying that what we saw was not what we saw, hapana. I don't, you know, like my mother growing up, ungemdanganya. Especially kama ni kitu anajua.
Well, I think even our law, our constitution, our laws, most of the time they have really protected criminals. You get? Because we know, like, we know you are always innocent until you've been proven guilty. So, and every time, of course, you will have a representation. So, he has a representation. And the representation, umesikia vile wamesema kwamba this one ilikuwa ni si yeye, it was a rubber bullet, and then
a different gun.
It's a different gun.
Yes.
And then I'm telling you, if he's able to convince the judge, itakuwa ni story imeisha.
Imagine.
Itakuwa ni story imeisha if they're able to convince.
Someone is fighting for their life in hospital.
Yeah.
And then you come and tell us it was not, you know, my client's gun, and yet we saw it.
And leave alone him, there are also others who are also hurt during those protests, and they were also taken to Kenyatta. I remember I saw like a number of around 16.
Right.
Ambapo kuna wengine walitibiwa wakatoka, and there are others who are still there.
Okay.
You've seen that Nairobi student.
Yes.
Who was also involved. So
I've actually even Kenyatta University Students Association KUSA walienda kule hospitali na wakamake a very strong statement.
Yes.
You know, saying that if something is not done soon, they might need to take things into their own hands and ensure that justice is served. I'm usually afraid of such statements because, number one, I was a KU student.
Yes.
And I know students, when they say that they are going to do something, my friend, it will take it will take a lot to convince them otherwise. Yeah, so I feel like this country has gotten to a point whereby we just need to be honest with each other, from the police to the leadership, and of course to fellow Kenyans. Do you understand?
Yes.
So according to this story, of course, it says that 2 police officers have been interdicted over the shooting of Boniface Kariuki, a hawker who was injured during protests in Nairobi on Tuesday. In a statement, the National Police Service said Police Constable Klinzi Barasa Masinde and Duncan Kiprono have been interdicted and are being processed by the homicide team at the DCI headquarters. Now, the officers are under investigation following the incident in which Kariuki was shot while selling face masks during demonstration in the city center. The protests were part of public actions demanding justice over the death of teacher and influencer Albert Ojwang, who died in police custody at Central Police Station. All right, so Kariuki is currently at Kenyatta National Hospital as of this morning. You know, things keep on changing with every passing minute, and we do hope that he's going to get better as time goes by, and his life will return to normal as soon as possible. Yeah. Let's take
we also have another story, but before we get to that story, we can get the traffic updates.
Sure. All right, so let's see which roads are currently engaged. Ni gani unaweza tumia, lakini sasa ni mapema sana. I think not all roads are looking bad, but you know what, let's just see, because Nairobi, no, anything can happen. Kuna wakati tunaweza pata lori imeanguka mahali na asubuhi mliacha tu kukiwa salama salamini. Yeah. All right. So what do we have here? Let me start by looking at Ngong Road. So Ngong Road, if you're coming from if you're heading towards Prestige Plaza rather, and you're coming from town,
yes,
there's traffic there. I wonder why. Also, if you're approaching the same road, no, this is Ring Road, Kilimani, a little bit of traffic there if you're heading towards Ngong Road, but everything looks fantastic over there. The road is literally green from my perspective. Coptic Hospital, if you're heading either way, whether you're heading towards town or heading away from town, things are looking good. But when you approach the roundabout that is at the Nairobi Funeral Home, a little bit of traffic there, but that is expected because of that interchange as people are trying to get in and out of traffic, or rather in and out of the roads.
Yes.
Yeah. Something else that is worth mentioning is that Mombasa Road is looking all green. This is quite interesting because when I was coming in the morning, it wasn't all green.
Well, people have realized that you need to wake up early and leave the house early enough for you to be able to beat the traffic.
Yeah, but I also think it's because of the expressway. They're taking advantage of it,
Yes.
and it's literally helping them. So traffic is divided between the expressway and the main road, which is quite fine.
Which also along Thika Superhighway, Thika Road, I'm also seeing that things are quite okay up to until you get to KCA University, that area of Ruaraka, all the way through Pangani, through Ngara. Things are not that much good, but the good thing is that it's still moving. All the way to Jogoo Road, kutoka pale Donholm, everything is quite okay up to until City Stadium. That is where we are seeing a bit of a snarl up. And even as you get to town, that is through the Landis Road. And then all the way to Mombasa, lights Kengeleni kwa sasa naambiwa everything is quite okay. Bado ni mapema, ingawaje we can see there are people already, we are seeing traders, tunaona watu wa soko pale wako wengi sana, and
Right.
I think there are some of the people cause a lot of traffic. Them Kokoteni people who are trying to carry luggages for their customers, and also at the junction, and there is also the police there. That is the reason why that area usually have traffic.
Yeah.
All the way to Likoni Ferry crossing channel, kila kitu iko shwari pale. Ferry naambiwa zipo 4 zinahudumu kwa sasa hivi.
Yeah.
So everything is quite okay.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So if there are any incidences on the roads, please let us know, and we shall definitely keep the country updated. Funny enough, yesterday and the day before that, it rained. I thought the rainy season was over until is it August? Yeah.
Bado, it's during we are in the winter period. Yeah, so of course you expect sometimes kutanyesha kidogo.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, even in Mombasa is raining by there. I was told by somebody. So climate, by the way, it's not the way we used to. We could count seasons. Nowadays things have changed.
Right.
Due to the global warming. So things have really changed. We used to expect that during this time,
Yes.
there are no rains. It's just cold. But right now we have seen things have really changed, and this is also affecting food production
Right.
in our country. In that things just change. You're expecting there will be rains. Umeenda umefanya kila kitu.
Ole
Then it
wako.
happens that hakunyeshi tena.
Ole wako.
Inakuja inanyesha siku moja, so you're like, oh, now we've gotten to the rainy season. Then ushapanda.
Yeah.
Kidogo no rains. Paka chakula kinakauka kwa shamba. So this is also really affecting everything. That is global warming and climate change.
There are people who believe there is nothing like global change.
Yeah, I know.
And they are very, very adamant about it.
Sure, I know.
They are sure. Yani wanasema hii ni conspiracy that has been created by the elite.
Yes.
To confuse us. And I'm wondering, are you kwani Maluneshi, have you noticed changes in the weather patterns?
I have one friend who is that way.
Oh.
Yeah, he believes nothing. He says that this is just a theory, so that African leaders would get money.
Oh,
we get
carbon
funding,
credits.
yes, from the Western countries. So it's just
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
All right.
But if you are really keen, you will notice that there are changes in terms of climate.
Right.
Now, this is really also affecting food production, even in our country.
Aye. So, let's get back to it. We are still on rgk.co.ke, where you can also find us live, by the way. Nairobi, it's 88.8, and in Mombasa, it's 90.7. If you're just joining us, Welcome to the People's Breakfast, the home of hard truths and bold insights.
Remember, you can follow us on our social media pages. That is at Radio Generation Kenya. If you go to our Facebook page, you will find us live there. If you go to the X platform at gk.co.ke, you will also find us live there. So join us in this conversation as we shape what really happens in our country. Well, there's this news about the government revenue allocation.
Okay.
Yeah, there has been a real tussle between the senators, the governors, the MPs, and also the Commission on Revenue Allocation.
Okay.
There has been a lot of issues, like the formula for allocating these government revenues to, especially to the counties, has been with a lot of issues. There are some counties that want to be considered like the minorities, to be considered to get a bigger share.
Okay.
There are these other counties that feel like, no, we should all of us get an equal share.
Okay.
And that is where now the problem is. So the Commission on Revenue Allocation, of course, they proposed a formula to sharing this. But then now there are counties, there are some of the governors who are protesting that, like saying that, no, this one is going to hurt some of the counties, because I saw some of the rates at which this will be allocated, and they are considering issues to do with marginalization, issues to do with the population,
right?
Yeah, issues to do like
and also just the needs of those counties.
Yeah, the needs of the counties, and therefore there has been always a problem. By the way, it is not even now.
I think we were reading a story, I think it was last week,
Yes.
you and I, and we saw this county. It was it Isiolo? Was it Isiolo or was it Mandera? Anyway, so there's this place where, I think it was Isiolo, where they, for the first time, they got a maternity ward.
Yeah,
where now, where now doctors were able to perform a cesarean section. Because initially, if there was an emergency CS, they had to travel outside the county just to get that particular service provided. Now, you can imagine such a county, you're telling them that they're probably going to get an equal share as another county, and that other county probably already has good hospitals, enough doctors, enough nurses, and so on and so forth. It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Yeah, even you as a parent, ukifika nyumbani, there's a way you reward your children. Yeah, of course there's the basic needs. Wote utawapatia chips, wote utawapatia sausage, wote utawapatia soda,
lakini kuna kengine hapo ni kadogo,
wote utawapatia peremende, lakini kuna kale kadogo, kale ka miaka miwili kwa mfano, hautampatia chips the same amount na yule mtoto wa miaka 7, because huyu wa miaka miwili katumbo ni kadogo. Wote utawapatia chips for sure, wote utawapatia sausage for sure, but it is the allocation, the share, the size that matters. So if you do that in your home, surely how can you do that to the counties? For instance, Nairobi has got a population, one of the highest populations in the country. I think we are over 5 million, and that is just residents alone. We're not counting the ones that come in from other counties. For example, there are people who live in Machakos but work in Nairobi. There are people who live in Kajiado but work in Nairobi, and so on and so forth. There are people who live in Kiambu but they work in Nairobi. So you find that at any given day, the population in Nairobi is really bloated. So we need proper drainage. We need proper sanitation. We need proper security. All right? As opposed to another county, I don't know which one is coming to mind right now, but as opposed to Machakos, for example, as opposed to Kitui County, for example. Yeah, because the population in Kitui and the population in Nairobi are different. So you cannot give them the same amount of money.
So according to you, you feel that now the allocation should be according to what?
Again, I'm not a financial analyst and I'm not a financial expert, but common sense tells me, number one, we have a lot of experts in this country. We have a lot of accountants. Nashindanga nikiona watu wakisoma CPA huku. Sijui CPA nipelekanga wapi kama we cannot employ them to give us ideas on how to allocate revenue to this country, to this county, sorry.
Yes.
So, according to me, this is how we should share them. The money rather. We should share it according to the need of that county. Nairobi has got more fire hazards than Kitui County. So if you're going to allocate money towards fighting fire in Nairobi, we have got to consider the fact that we have more hazardous opportunities as opposed to Machakos or Kitui or Makueni County for that.
Well, somebody will also argue that counties like on the northern
region,
they require more funds, so that now you can improve the living standards there for more development, because we are seeing a lot of roads that are not done, unlike in Nairobi.
I will go back to the analogy of children.
Yes.
Of course, even the bigger child, the 7-year-old, needs more care, because he's growing faster than the rest. Okay, they're all growing. But for example, huyu anaenda shule, so utamnunulia uniform, yule mdogo utamnunulia uniform, but bado utamnunulia nguo. Nona. So as you are allocating your revenue, you also allocate revenue for school uniform for the 7-year-old.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
And you allocate diapers for the what? For the 1-year-old. So diapers, uniform. You just consider what needs to be bought where. So in Turkana County, for instance, do they need more roads? Let's allocate money for roads there.
Yes.
Okay. Do they need more? Do they need more housing? Let's allocate money for housing there. Do they need money for medical care? They don't have enough hospitals. Let's allocate money for hospitals there. I feel like sometimes we overcomplicate issues, and most importantly, we politicize issues. Hapo ndio shida iko. We politicize issues even when they are just black and white, when there is no politics involved. We like saying at Yapana, but you see now, this region,
Well, I would like us to look at the formula that we've been using. That is the third basis allocation index by CRA. Yeah, this is what they've been using for the year 2020-2021 to 2024-2025. Right now, we are talking of the fourth basis allocation index, and this is what they were using. Basic share, it was given at 20%. That is equal share for all counties to cover a fixed administration cost. That is 20%.
Yes.
Population index, 18% based on county population size using 2019 census data. And then health index was 17%. Which reflects healthcare needs, e.g. hospitals, beds, and utilization.
Right.
Then poverty index, now those areas with high poverty levels, 14% based on poverty head count from Kenya National Bureau of Standards data. Then there is agriculture index, 10%. Then land area index, like how massive is the county.
Yes.
It was given 8. And this accounts for geographic size, excluding water bodies.
Okay.
Then there's the rural access index. It was given 8%. Then urban services index was given 5%. What you're talking about was given 5%. Yeah. So now the fourth one, which is now the fourth basis allocation index, which was proposed by the CRA, and this is where now governors and senators were not agreeing. That should be used for the year 2025, 2026 to the year 2029, 2030.
All right.
This is what the proposal was, that population index was given 36%. Remember, the previous one was 18%.
All right.
Right? The basic share index proposed at 26, up from 20%. This is basic share is for all of the counties. This is what you get, equal share. Yeah.
Right.
Then the poverty index was given 23%, up from 14%. Land area index was given 10%, up from 8%. Roads index proposed at 4%. Ilipunguzwa from 8%.
Okay.
And then now health index was retained, but specific weight unclear in available data. Yeah, so that's how the index that was proposed by the CRA on the fourth basis of funds allocation to counties.
Okay.
So as you can see, the population was given the highest share.
Right. So they considered the number of people in the areas that they are located.
Yes. So if it is Nairobi,
Yeah.
you know Nairobi is highly populated.
Right.
compared maybe to somewhere like Machakos. So you won't give them equal share. So depending with the population, the proposal at least iliongeza pesa all the way from 16 by then, meaning they really considered the use the needs of the people there.
Okay.
And then there is a basic share. This one is just equal across all the counties. Then now the poverty index now unaona ilitoka from 14 to 23% according to CRA.
So poverty increased.
No, I mean if you are in an area that is highly poor.
Okay.
Unapata at least
more money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unapata more money. If you're in an area that is vast, like sehemu kubwa sana, like let's now look at the counties like, we look at counties that are massive like Garissa, yeah, those sides.
And this is in terms of area.
Yes, in terms of
square kilometers.
Yes,
okay.
They are, at least they have been considered, because you see the needs, especially in terms of development. Now here we talk now of development.
Yes.
Then it's like you want to do roads, you want to do other things, other development issues. Then it means that you will be considered. At least umongezewa pesa. Then now the roads index hiyo ya barabara, and now the health. Especially now, look at counties like the one we are talking of. They just got the first maternity. Just the other day. So this also will be considered, and this is where now they were really fighting with the governors and the senators, because some of them felt like now our counties wanaenda kupoteza pesa.
And see, that's the thing I was saying, that I'm sure we have experts, you know, the people who've done statistics, people who've done finance, accounting, and whatever. So the fact that they see that we need different styles and different levels of allocation, and different ways of determining why Nairobi, for example, should get 60 billion and Garissa should get 170 billion, you know. I think and that's okay, and that's why we need to stop rather politicizing this particular process.
Issue.
Watch our experts watuambie, look here, Nairobi needs more hospitals, or Nairobi needs more firefighting equipment and staff. Garissa needs more hospitals, or Garissa needs better roads. If they tell us that, and wamefanya hesabu na wakajua na wakafanya kipimo chao na wakajua this is what is needed, then that's the direction we take. Not MPs sitting in parliament or senators sitting in the Senate and they just say hapana, no, wanakataa tu for the sake of kukataa, ama wanapitisha two bills for the sake of kupitisha. No, I think that is a good way, and we should always leave this to the experts. Yeah,
I think that is, but now
fair
you
enough.
see, now the governors, when they were really pushing for this, their concerns were that the 2025-2026 national budget undermines devolution,
but you see
due
also
to insufficient funds.
But you see also, again, let me use the analogy of the children. There's no way, just because your child wants you to buy for them a brand new, you know, short, you just go and buy it. Just because they are screaming and crying at the top of their voice. Maybe they just have enough shorts. You understand? You don't buy your child more toys, yet he has enough toys, just because he's crying. You buy what is necessary. Namwambia, listen here, my son or my daughter. Right now, we can't buy any more toys. Use the ones that you have. So ulikotaka PlayStation, uko nayo. Cheza na hiyo for now. Don't want an Xbox, yet we know we don't have enough money for an Xbox. So just because the youngest child has screamed the most, then now unasema wacha nimbaie tu hiyo PS ndiye anyamaze. No. So just because the counties are screaming most, or the governors are screaming the most, and they are saying, hey, we need a look. No, they should also know that, look, governor so and so, you are asking for 10 billion. Na hizo vitu umetupatia kwa budget, because I'm sure they give a budget. Now they say the reason we need 10 billion is because of A, B, C, D projects. Sometimes those projects are not necessary. I'm not saying they're not important, but I'm just saying they're not necessarily at the time of requesting. So if we can just let them know that, look, yes, you wanted to build an office building for the governor. but that can wait.
That can wait for now. Yes.
That money we have given you instead tumie hiyo kwanza kujenga mahospitali zile ulikuwa umesema utatengeneza, kujenga zile barabara ulisema utajenga, tumie hiyo pesa kulipa wafanyikazi ulisema utawalipa.
Do you know what finally happened is that the mediation committee finally agreed at 415 billion. You know, initially the assembly gave a proposal of 405. You know, that is also one of the things that the amount, the whole figure, what that was being contested on, the figure that will go to the counties. So initially the assembly, the National Assembly, they proposed 405 billion. Sawa.
Okay. All right.
So now the Senate, the Senate also advocated for 415. And this is the figure that has been agreed upon by the mediation committee. But still, governors feel that hiyo pesa bado ni kidogo, they want more.
If it is justified, then it's okay.
They want more. They are saying that budget
allocation,
undermines devolution in the counties.
But now you see that's the problem. And nimesema again, and I'll repeat it here. Can we stop politicizing? Kama experts wametuambia the reason why we are giving Garissa County or Isiolo
this much
or Wajir this amount of money. For example, I would expect more money allocated towards security because of the border regions. You understand? So that we can have better patrols and so on and so forth.
Yes.
We can have better surveillance of our borders and make sure that, you know, people don't infiltrate and sana the enemies, you know, the terrorists and so on and so forth. People who are bringing in drugs and contraband.
Yes.
I would understand if in the border regions we say X amount of money is going to go to ensuring our borders are safe. But if you as a county governor of that particular area, maybe unaona pesa ya security mnapeana, it makes sense. Wewe unataka pesa ya kujenga barabara na maybe hata hizo barabara mnataka kujengewa, na sisemi ati watu wafai kuwa na barabara, maybe hata hazitaitumika. Unacheki ni kama sasa Lamu County wasema wanataka street lights na nilisikia huko ni punda pekee wanatembea. Unaona? So I'm using that just as an example. I feel like at the end of the day we need to use expert opinion, and even that expert opinion should not be the process of getting that expert opinion should not be politicized, because I feel like a lot of the times, of course, we know these leaders want to eat, and that is why sometimes they of course bloat their budgets. But I feel like if we are being honest leaders, if we're being honest servants to the people, then we need to have better policies in place.
And so counties are set to receive that 415 billion as the budget dispute ends. And you remember yesterday we were saying there's a news on the newspaper, sorry, we saw that story whereby counties are starting with no funds. Madeni yakiwa mengi, no funds, but now it was because of that dispute, and since it has been agreed upon, counties right now are set to receive 415 billion. But still at it, you also look at on our website, that is at rgk.co.ke. You will see a breakdown there that has been done regarding the prioritizing of development in counties. So out of the monies they are being given, you will see how these counties are prioritizing development. Kuna counties zingine hakuna kitu wanafanya. Out of that allocation you unapewa, they are complaining that this allocation undermines devolution. And devolution, of course, tunajua kwamba most of the time we are looking at services to mwananchi. We are also looking at developing our counties in terms of infrastructure and so forth. So now when you look at the list, you see that one of the counties leading in appropriating for the development is Turkana County at 34%. Out of the money is the revenue they have, 34% they are directing it to development.
What I usually dislike is after the governors have complained and they're saying, oh, there is no money, and then you hear, oh, a CEC has been interdicted or arrested, and they had like 5 million in their car, and you're thinking, sasa you CEC surely, governor wako huko anapigania pesa ili muweze kupata allocation for revenue for your county, and you're busy stealing money. Na sasa wafanyikazi wa county, you know, the sweepers, the people who are cleaning the windows in the county hawajalipwa. I usually find that very, 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 very boring.
Well,
anyway, yeah.
Once we get back, I'm going to read for you the list and
Yes.
how much your county has prioritized for development.
All right, so we're getting into the news, but when we return, of course, we're going to be getting also into the newspapers, just letting you know what is in the headlines, so that when you're going out there into the streets of Nairobi to hustle, or the streets of Mombasa, you know exactly where you stand as far as the news is concerned.
It's 7 o'clock.
Radio generation, the sound is fine. Pump it up, turn it high all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
It's 7:01.
This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. Police are ready for demonstrations planned for June 25th across the country. Nairobi Regional Police Commander George Seda says police will provide security for protesters and all other Kenyans. Seda warned against acts of violence during the planned demos called by opposition leaders.
For the 25th, we have got what we call an enhanced plans for that. The letter which was delivered to Central, we are equally having that copy of the intents. What I would want to urge our publics, let's restrict ourselves to what we call peaceful demonstrations. Let's not have demonstrations which are going to interfere by other people who may be not part of the demonstrators. Remember, it will be a working day. We shall be having other people operating shops, hotels, and even other advantages.
Police also warned against attacking officers during the demos.
And this is what is making the situation now to become worse. They become reactive. Like even the other time last Thursday, you saw some going to rough up the officers who are armed, provocative. We are not there to be at war with you, the public. We are there just to provide safety. We are there, we shall provide enough and good security.
Opposition chiefs, including former DP Rigathi Gachagua and Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, have called on Kenyans to boycott work on June 25th. The leaders declared the day a symbolic public holiday in honor of Gen Z protesters who lost their lives during 2024's anti-government demonstrations. 2 police officers have been interdicted over the shooting of Boniface Kariuki, a hawker who was injured during protests in Nairobi on Tuesday. In a statement, the National Police Service said police constables Lindsay Baraza Masinde and Duncan Kiprono have been interdicted and are being processed by the homicide team at the DCI headquarters. The officers are under investigation following the incident in which Kariuki was shot while selling face masks during demonstration in the city center. The protests are part of public action demanding justice over the death of a teacher and influencer Albert Ojwang, who died in police custody at Central Police Station. Members of Parliament and senators have reached a deal to allocate 415 billion shillings to counties in the 2025-2026 financial year. This brings to an end a standoff that had threatened to delay the national budget. The agreement announced yesterday by the Mediation Committee handling the Division of Revenue Bill followed days of intense negotiations between the National Assembly and the Senate. The 415 billion shillings figure represents a 27.6 billion shilling increase from last year's 387.4 billion shillings. President William Ruto has defended the formation of broad-based government. Speaking during a forum at State House, Nairobi, the president described it as divinely inspired, even as public outrage grows over increasing police brutality. In July 2024, Ruto made a dramatic political move by dissolving his cabinet and announcing plans to form a broad-based government with former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. The move was in response to public anger over punitive taxes and economic hardships.
The broad-based government is neither a creation of Baba or myself. It is God-sent. I say that because it is what is necessary for us to have the political goodwill to be able to push the development agenda of our nation.
Chelsea winger Mihailo Mudryk has been charged by Football Association with violating its anti-doping rules. This is after failing a drug test and could now face up to 4-year ban. The Ukraine international was provisionally suspended by the FA in December after an adverse finding in a routine urine test. Players found to have intentionally taken a prohibited substance can be banned for up to 4 years under the guidelines of the World Football Governing Body FIFA. That's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning, Abwini Maganga.
In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generations, the people's breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The people's breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
Yes, indeed, it is Radio Generation. My name is Mungala Mbuvi, 88.8 in Nairobi, 90.7 in Mombasa. A very good morning to everyone who is tuned in. And of course, in Garissa, it's 89.5.
Good morning. My name is Triciah, and of course, on our social media pages, follow us at Radio Generation Kenya. That is on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, which is X, and also on our YouTube channel at Radio Generation Kenya. Remember, you can also listen to us all the way from Lamu, that is on 92.6, Malindi 92.1. Yes, and you will be in this conversation. So right now, you say that you're going to get to the paper check.
Yes, indeed.
And of course, we have 3 newspapers here, and also we also have another one, the Taifa Leo. We have the Daily Nation, the Standard, and the Star. And before we went for the news,
yes,
by there we were talking about the counties in terms of development. And there's also one. Okay, there's a story on the newspaper, that is the Star newspaper,
right,
about the allocations to the counties. And this is what it says. Before I get to that big story about Raila, win for smaller counties in new revenue formula. That is 12 smaller counties that receive minimal allocations from the equitable share have scored a major win after the Senate approved a new revenue sharing formula that includes a dedicated 4.46 billion affirmative fund. Senators approved the fund in a unanimous vote last Thursday. You will find that story on page 2 of the Standard newspaper. So it's just about
on the Star newspaper.
On the Star, yes. It's all about the issues to do with allocation of the national revenue to counties, and we had discussed a lot about the allocation and where the governors felt like this is not fair. But finally, an agreement was done, and I was looking at counties that are prioritizing development. Look at such counties like Turkana, Kilifi, with 33.7% of their revenue towards development. Look at Siaya, 32.3%. Kwale, Mandera, Garissa, Uasin Gishu, Marsabit, Kirinyaga, and Kericho. What I wanted just to point out, Mungala,
right,
is look at those counties in the northern part of Kenya. You realize they have allocated a big percentage to development.
It is because those places are seriously underdeveloped.
Yes,
seriously underdeveloped.
And that is what actually we've been looking for, and that is what we are really pushing for. But some of these other counties are really not doing good to their counties, because if you look at from the top bottom counties that are prioritizing development in the budget, you see Kisumu only giving 8.5%. Taita Taveta giving 9.6%.
Okay.
Nakuru 10.5%. Nairobi 11.1%. Nyeri 12.2%. Lamu, Kajiado, West Pokot, Embu, Kakamega, less than 15% of the allocation they get, they channel it towards development. Yes.
I mean, sometimes you might find that you have more pressing issues than development, and you have to take care of them. The only thing I hope won't happen is corruption. As long as pesa mmetumia vizuri na watu wamesaidika, hiyo iko sawa.
So it's okay.
Yeah, let's jump straight into the Standard newspaper, and the front page says thug bosses. When police marched side by side with rungu-wielding goons on Nairobi streets who were coming from Governor Johnson Sakaja's City Hall office, some wearing county t-shirts, the line between law enforcer and lawbreaker blurred to nothing. The so-called crackdown on protests morphed into a coordinated rampage. Looting, assault, and destruction ran unchecked. Innocent wananchi bore the brunt as thugs beat them and vandalized property, all while Sakaja clung to his hollow protect businesses mantra. IG Kanja remains conspicuously silent, failing to condemn officers who protected the goons. Now that story is on page 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now, also on RGK, the same story has been said, and this one definitely a different angle. So Sakaja condemns violence and distances City Hall from criminals. If you read the entire story here, I'll just take a paragraph or two. It says, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has distanced himself from the county government from criminal groups accused of infiltrating recent protests to loot and vandalize property in the city. Now, in a statement yesterday, Sakaja said that the violent incidents witnessed during Tuesday's protests were the work of hired goons brought in from outside and had nothing to do with peaceful demonstrators. We read something here yesterday.
Yes, and let me also read the same story on the Daily newspaper. And this is what it says, that how chaos was planned in city.
Right.
And this is what it says, goons for hire. Plans to disrupt Tuesday's protests in Nairobi started as early as last Thursday, with fresh details of the recruitment and facilitation of goons to take on the mostly youthful and peaceful demonstrators emerging. The criminals' unholy alliance with anti-riot officers in their reign of terror on the streets was also a clear manifestation of blessings from above. That is on page 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this is what is written, what Sakaja had said before the governor of Nairobi. It says that, I want to tell youths in Nairobi, demonstrating for their rights is allowed, but we will not allow the destruction of property again. That will never happen again in Nairobi. So don't try it. You will find me in town. That is what the governor of Nairobi said on Sunday. And then afterwards, I'm trying to read what it says here, that we categorically disassociate ourselves from any gangs, militias, or politically sponsored groups that exploit demonstrations to engage in criminal activity. This is a statement that he said yesterday. You had the statement that he said on Sunday.
Right.
And now the statement that he said yesterday, after just everyone has pointed out what happened that during day. We saw goons walking side by side.
Yes.
With police officers.
And he was quoted saying that, that is a couple of days ago. I think that it was on that Sunday, where he said, nimesikia wanakuja, this time round, tutakuwa prepared. Last time walitupata tukiwa tuko tayari.
And prepared right now.
This time round. Of course, this is me paraphrasing. Now, the fact that he said that, and then suddenly we saw this group of people just walking sako kwa bako na makarao, wameshikilia marungu.
Yes.
The police, giving them an escort. That's the crazy part. And then we saw the same rungu wielding individuals robbing and clobbering fellow Kenyans. Wewe hebu niambie kama wewe si mtu amelipwa. Mimi sisemi nani amemlipa, lakini wewe niambie kama wewe sio mtu amelipwa.
No, there is a story still on the Daily Nation which says that terms of the deal, boda riders who accepted the deal received a full tank of fuel on their motorcycles and 2,000 shillings in cash. So this is what it says. We were paid to attack protesters in Nairobi, goons admit. Political leaders and mobilizers had earlier on warned protesters demanding justice for Ojwang that they would meet resistance.
Sasa, okay, so that person has said what they have said. Have they provided evidence? Yes. You know me, I'm for the idea. If I'm going to blame you, or I'm going to accuse you, or I'm going to collaborate and say that we were together, fine, my word should mean something. But is there something like atuonesha hata message ya simu, pesa iliingia hapa? You see?
No, you need to
or listen, or a recording of sorts. Atuoneshe ndio sisi hawa pale City Hall, tukiongea na mheshimiwa.
Sasa sikiza hapa. Some of the individuals, this is what the newspaper says, that some of the individuals who were hired to disrupt Tuesday's protests have received details of the dastardly plan. They said that they were called on Tuesday and told that there was a job for them. On Tuesday, they assembled at a petrol station in Valley Road, where the boda riders received a full tank of petrol and 2,000 shillings. Others received 1,000. They then rode into the Nairobi Central Business Districts, where they attacked protesters as well as other people going about their businesses.
Yani for 2,000 shillings and a full tank, ulikuja kutandika watu town?
Yeah. Full
2,000?
tank. Yes. That's
2,000.
That's why, you know, okay, according to them, it is a job. You have been given a job to go and disrupt, to attack protesters. Na unapewa full tank na umeongezwa ya lunch. 2,000. You take your lunch.
Do you know how long it takes for me to clear 2,000?
Just in a sitting, right?
Not even in a sitting. That's fuel to get to work.
And it's done.
Sasa mimi yani 2,000. Anyway, that's just me. This is what I'm trying to say, and I'm just trying to ask these fellow Kenyans who sometimes are used by whoever decides to use them, whether it's a politician, a business person, or whatever. Do you think about the life that you're just about to go and destroy or disrupt, the business that you're going to attack? Do you think about the person? For example, I saw a woman being robbed in the streets. Yes. Alinyang'anywa, I think ilikuanga simu na kibeti chake. Do you think about that person who you have just been sent to go and attack? Forget the 2,000 that you've been given. I'm sure a lot of Kenyans are very broke, and 2,000 shillings will go a long way.
Means a lot to them. Yes.
A full tank for your boda, I'm sure it means a lot for you, because that is money you have spared as far as carrying your customers is concerned. But have you put yourself in the shoes of this person that you're going to attack? So assuming it's you, wewe umekuja kutetea haki yako, because that is what the Kenyans who are protesting were doing, right?
Yes.
They're trying to speak against atrocities. These people do not have a weapon, so they're not hurting anyone. They're not insulting anyone.
Yes.
They're literally fighting for their rights and yours. That means if they succeed,
you also benefit.
You will have a better life.
Yes.
If they succeed, the next time you need to fuel your boda, you won't spend as much as you used to. If they succeed, your wife will have a better life. If they succeed, your children will live in a better country, have better amenities, and so on and so forth. Do you think about that particular situation? Because if we are being honest, I do not care how poor you are, but 2,000 shillings siku moja itakuja iishe. The same way, even 1,000,000 shillings hukuja inaisha. Yeah. So my appeal to someone who's listening, and I'm sure they usually, you know, there are some people who, hata ukiwapreachia ni kama kupigia mbuzi gitaa, they will still go ahead and do it. Tomorrow upatie the same person 500, atakwambia bosi leta, acha nikafanya kitu umeniambia. Let's stop being used. And I'm talking specifically to the youth. Stop being used. Let someone do their own dirty business. Let politicians fight it out up there. Sisi kama the rest of the population, we need to come together. And I said this, I think, 2 days ago. There are 3 groups in this country. Actually 2 groups, the political class and us. Period. And the political class is always looking out for themselves.
So do not allow yourselves to be used, be used, to be separated. Imagine, as you have said, it is only 2 groups. The political and now the normal mwananchi.
Because the opposition and the gava wanajiangalianga.
Yes, so the normal mwananchi ujue kwamba you are getting used. That is why some of you will be used as goons. Others will be protesting. Traders, a businessman, really crying. He said that his shop, that is an electronic shop, computers, they were robbed, all of them. Shop was destroyed, all the stock had gone.
Do you know there are some Kenyans who are unable to afford insurance for their shops? So mtu ameenda amechukua pesa yake yote, maybe savings, ama amekopa, ama amesaidiwa na familia yake, wengine wamesaidiwa na mabwana zao na mabibi zao, ukapatiwa 500,000. For example, I saw someone saying they lost over 500,000 shillings in stock. Now this is money that this person has borrowed so that they can come and sell, make a little profit, pay back the loan. By the time they break even, it's going to take some time, sometimes even years. So you can imagine you're working maybe for an entire year, you're barely making it. Then when you're in that struggle, someone just comes and steals all your stock, whether it's computers, whether it's phones, whether it's clothes. Yani mtu ameenda tu na yako yote. A lot of people in this country, by the way, wanaendesha magari za loan. Mtu anaendesha tu kagari kake ka loan hapo, anataka kubeba watu kama taxi, ndio apate pesa. At the end of the day, apeleke kasukuma nyumbani. Unakuja una vandalize gari yake, unaigonga kioo, unaipasua, unaipasua vioo, unaigonga mlango, unangoa, sijui mnazichoma. Then what happens to this person? This person already, that car as it is, it's on loan. He hardly gets money to even take back home. Where is he going to get money to repair that vehicle, to continue servicing that loan, to continue feeding his family? And that is why I say, by the time unapatiwa 2,000, unaambiwa ndo gonge mtu tao, or mtu kwa nyumba yake. Hebu jeke kwa viatu zao mtu, tafadhali. Tafadhali tu.
Like you are during you are on the road during the protest, then just people just come. Wanagonga gari yako, wanavunja kila kitu, and you are just about your businesses. Yani wewe ulikuwa tu unaenda shughuli zako. Then people have come. It's not fair. Sometimes hata pia sisi wenyewe, when you are doing such things, hata wewe keti chini jiulize, if it was you, wewe kama umepewa 1,000 afadhali tu uende utembee tu town na urudi. Other than sasa tunaanza kusema kama politicians, ukipewa unakula, but do not do. Why harm your fellow Kenyan?
Wewe chukua 1,000 yako bana,
gari yake
inakuhusu nyumbani.
Gari yake inakuhusu nini? Umeenda umemvunjia vioo, umeenda unampiga mawe, and they have literally done nothing to you. It is so unfair. And you know something, yesterday as I was following up on the news, I saw that businessman claimed that some of these people who broke into their shops, they were uniformed.
Oh yeah, there is a video doing rounds of it was actually highlighted by one of the TV stations.
Yes.
Police officers walienda na stolen equipment. They took from the goons. Umeshika goons ndio wanaiba ma computers kutoka kwa duka. Walizichukua, and instead of returning them to the shop,
mtu anaenda nayo
and protecting that shop. You know, you can return them to the shop and then you protect it. Musimame hapo until it is well secured. Walichukua and wakaenda nazo. I do not want to judge. I don't want to judge these officers, but I hope they returned those computers once vitu zilitulia.
When if you are a police officer na umepelekwa pale kuangalia security ya watu, mbona sasa unaanza kutoka na computer, umetoka na laptop, unatoka na simu?
I'm assuming they couldn't take them back inside because zingeibiwa tena.
They took to keep them safe.
Walipeleka police station, then when things zitulie, kesho asubuhi warudishie mwenye duka umwambie.
So people can go and claim their whatever in the police stations.
Yes. Or just even in in the morning, you can actually just go back there
and see.
because we don't know which police station you're coming from. Munaweza kuwa umetoka Langata police station, so I'm not going to as the person who owns the shop, sitazunguka police station zote nikitafuta computer zangu. Wewe nirudishie tu.
Sasa and again, okay, if police, unajua police station yeyote ambayo iko karibu, I think an officer can drop any asset or something, a property that he feels was not his, and maybe people can ask, because right now as a citizen, if something I lost something in town,
right,
I will go to the nearest police station. There's central there. I'll
Yes.
go and ask them, bana, mimi niliibiwa kitu fulani within
Pale
there.
CBD,
Yes. So
So-
police central police is there. Shauri Moyo is also near. It's not far.
Okay, we saw just the other day CS Murkomen said that they're going to digitize the occurrence book. So I'm hoping in future, if I am robbed and the whatever the stuff is recovered by police, I am able to make a report, and the police is able to trace that my computers, for instance, were found by Shauri Moyo police station, for instance, or they were found by Central Police, or they were found by Capitol Hill. Na sasa mimi niende Capitol Hill nifanye nini? I claim my computers and my business has been secured. So I hope and if it happens, by the way, if it happens, mimi hata naweza buy makarao lunch. Aki naweza wabai. Nikisikia walirudisha hizo computers, each and every single officer who was in that who was in that operation na akarudisha hizo laptop za huyo mwenye duka, mimi mnitafute, mkuja hapa Radio Generation, I will buy each and every single one of you lunch.
Well, and I'm also hoping that the proposed zile police reforms that he said that is gonna make sure that they are done, that people are also going to work on what did I say, the ethics of police. We do not expect such things from a police officer.
You know,
when I'm close to a police officer, I feel I'm safe.
Yes.
So sasa,
and you should be safe.
Mbona sasa nianze nikisimama karibu na wewe naogopa hata unaweza kwenda na simu yangu?
We see this in the news, especially, you know, international news outlets like akina CNN, Al Jazeera. You will see a news item such as police, you know, were able to apprehend this particular criminal, and $5 million was found in his possession, you know, and that $5 million was probably stolen from a particular bank, and that money eventually, after the process is done, inarudishwa kwa ile benki.
Okay.
Si ndio? Huku Kenya unasikianga a bank was robbed.
Hiyo pesa haipatikana.
And 2 criminals out of the 7 were caught. And only 100,000 out of 10 million that was stolen was recovered.
Hiyo nyingine inaendanga wapi?
So unapata
gunia mbili za banki pia. Moja ndio inapatikana, ingine haipatikani.
A colleague of ours in the industry once asked, you know, the way the police say that this bangi is valued at 7 million. Aliuliza wanajuanga aje ni 7 million?
No, but with that one I can ask. But then somebody also asked me that question one day, and you can answer that one, because we know the market rates of sasa. Kama tumekupata wewe ndio umebeba gunia mbili ya banki,
7 kg,
tukuulize unauzaje kilo moja, si utatupa?
Ndasema
tushike mwingine pia tuulize. You can still also,
so there's an estimate.
There is you can get the price of. Now the problem is only when mumepata gunia mbili na mnapeleka moja ndo inaenda kutumika kama exhibit, ile ingine imeenda wapi?
Okay.
You see, so okay, those proposed reforms za polisi, it's not about the CCTV peke yake, but the culture, all those really needs to be addressed. Issue ya culture ya polisi hiyo ya you mean kuharass watu, that really needs to be checked.
Yeah, it does. I agree, and hopefully with time we shall be able to make these reforms. We know Rome wasn't built in one day, and we are not saying that tomorrow morning we want to wake up and we find an amazing Kenya. No, but what we are saying is that we want to find a better Kenya. You know, tuanze kuona those reforms zimeanza kufanyika. You know, sometimes me I'm shocked when I see officers on TV, and they are unable to articulate issues. You know, that for me it breaks my heart, because I feel like, hey, you know, these are the people who are supposed to be protecting us, yet they can't even explain to us what is going on. They are trying to explain this crime but the words that are coming out of their mouth tunashindwa kuelewa. Those are some of the reforms I'm talking about, but I'm sure it will happen one way or another. It has got to happen. So on page 6 of the Standard newspaper, it says outrage over police shooting, state sanctioned gang violence. International community, lawyers and Catholic Church warn state over police brutality. Inspector General Kanja asked to reveal identity of officer filmed shooting harmless hawker. That has already happened. And page 7, Lagat to shed light on Ojwang's killing.
By the way, before we move forward, I'm seeing some interesting story here about still the protest, and actually that is what we were really talking about.
Right.
This is what the writer says, that the attackers made off with more than 30 laptops, along with chargers and batteries. They came carrying sacks and packed the laptops into them. By that time the police arrived, it was too late. The looting had already happened. That is one of the traders, and now this is what it says. A video online also shows police officers recovering 3 laptops and announcing that the owner should collect them from a central police station. That is what actually you were saying.
Okay.
And if
Nice.
that is what they say, then that is okay.
Nice.
National Police spokesperson Michael Mushiri acknowledged the crimes, saying police had arrested 1 person.
Yeah.
Police recovered 4 laptops out of the 30 we're talking about. 4 laptops, which are now in safe custody as hex bits at the central police station.
Askari wangapi? Watatu? 3 cops, eh?
Yes.
No,
he's saying police recovered 4 laptops, and anasema kwamba they are at the central police station. Anasema anyone whose premises were broken into and had laptops stolen should visit the station to identify the recovered items.
So there are only three of them. They recovered, is it 4 laptops you've said?
Yeah, 4.
4 laptops, eh?
And this one trader was talking of around 30 laptops, which were...
So the other 27 missing.
Now, it is not this one alone, because this is a lady, and I also had seen another guy.
Where?
Yes.
Hao makara walirecover hizo laptops 4. Wanitafute.
Kuna lunch ya kununua.
Ndio nasema wanitafute. Yes, at Mungala Mbuvi. Find me there across all platforms. Lunch nayo mtakula.
It depends.
Kwanza Brian Odoro anapeananga lunch kwa show yake. Tunaweza organize.
That depends lunch ni how much anyway.
All right, can we just get into a little bit of traffic before we continue with this conversation, eh?
Traffic.
All right, so this is what is happening on your roads this particular morning. Let me just refresh this particular thing. Oh yeah, so here we are. Ninaangalia barabara Mombasa Road inakaa fiti. These are the major roads that we use every single day. So coming from let me just go a little bit nyuma kidogo to about Kitengela. All right, so the road is clear. It's actually very clear. So if you're coming from Kitengela, nyinyi mko tu sawa. You're coming from Machakos, nyinyi mko tu sawa. Not much traffic on that particular road. Going all the way to, where is this? All Park Industries, that is Beijing Road, also looking good. No complaints from that particular area. Going down to Kappa Oil Refineries, things are looking good, but they change a little bit as you're getting to Agol Grand Hotel, that is next to the Nairobi airport, or rather the JKIA. A little bit of traffic there, but after the toll station at JKIA, everything is looking good for you as a motorist. Then we're getting, where is this? Let me see. People who are using Old Mombasa Road, a little bit of traffic. This one is heavy traffic, so please avoid Old Mombasa Road if you can at all. Ile barabara inaingia kwa the business park, the internal container depot, avoid that road kabisa, uko malori wamefunga. Now if you're gonna be heading towards town and you get to, this is Ideal Ceramics Mombasa Road, the traffic there is bumper to bumper. Not bad, it's moving, but if you can just use the expressway, good for you. Everything else is looking good where until you get to Panari Hotel. This is as you're still heading towards town. Up at Bob Mill mattresses, a little bit of traffic there because of the road is rough a little bit, but after that you are good to go all the way into the Nairobi CBD.
Just to remind the people using Thika Road, ujue ukienda kufika Pangani, that area there's a lot of traffic as you get to town. Isili pia naambiwa barabara pale traffic. Actually all the way from Isili town. We said we'll be calling it town
It's another
CBD, yes. Kwamba things are thick because pale nadhani because of the businesses and so forth, all the way to Kariakor to town, all the way from Donholm to town. Things are thick around Donholm.
Then again, Outer Ring Road,
yes, wakitumia Jogoo Road. That is wakitumia Jogoo Road. Of course, Outer Ring Road pale ndani behind Jericho. That route also is usually full of traffic. So ukienda kufika town around a city stadium, pia ujue things are thick. All the way to town.
When we get to the 8:30 of 8 o'clock, we shall definitely be giving you more traffic updates. So keep it Radio Generation.
Traffic on Radio Generation.
So we are back still on the newspapers telling you what is going on, making headlines, and especially on this particular issue that refuses to go away, which we wish was just a very bad dream. Unfortunately, it's the reality. We are still talking about police brutality and the issues surrounding the death of Albert Ojwang and the incident that happened on Tuesday, where an innocent bystander was actually, do we say gunned? Was shot. Anyway, let's get into this other situation where Lagat is supposed to shed light on Ojwang's killing. According to page 7 of the Standard, it says that Lagat has been implicated in the killing and was a person of interest as the complainant. 20 officers and 4 civilians have been questioned, with several being arrested. Yesterday, I was watching the news, and the lawyers these are the lawyers for OCS Talam. They said, they were telling the court that apparently, and this again, I'm saying apparently, and it is alleged that some officers from IPOA were soliciting for a bribe from OCS Talam.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cliff Ombeta, OCS Talam's lawyer, pia Danstan Omari, pia yeye ni wakili wa Talam. Talam was in court. And they produced his phone, which apparently was supposed to have been confiscated. Hey, kidogo kizungu inakataa. Yeah, but you get what I mean. It received SMSs. Yeah, or rather was being used to send SMSs to their lawyers, demanding for, at one point, a bribe of 45,000.
Wow. Another
time of 80,000. I can't remember the other amounts, but there was a lot of money that apparently his lawyers were being asked for. And of course, when it was presented in court, lawyers who were acting on behalf of IPOA said that it is highly unlikely for a high profile case that an IPOA officer would solicit for a bribe. And I kind of agree with the lawyers of the IPOA. And also I understand where Danstan Omari and Cliff Ombeta are coming from, but I'm thinking something is going on there.
Okay, one thing, I was just wondering, 45,000 in exchange of justice for
it wasn't just 45,000.
Yes,
there was 45, 80 and other amounts that
I'm telling you,
can't
that
remember.
Is small money.
But ukishikanisha ilikuwa inakuja kwa pesa mingi sana.
Hata kama, I'm telling you, that is small money in exchange of someone's life.
Yeah.
Albert Ojwang should be granted justice,
so
fair hearing, and that we should know, and those people involved held accountable.
So one of the lawyers for IPOA did come out and say that, hey guys, can we just be serious for 2 minutes? We are not saying that the SMSs were not sent, because the evidence was presented in court, but they were saying hata nyinyi mkifikiria for such a case
mnaona
tunaweza itisha 80,000 kweli? Surely 80,000 ni zile mnaitishanga mtu aliiba kuku na badala afunge mwaka mzima mupeane hiyo pesa.
I'm telling you, in our country we have just talked about 2,000.
Yeah,
we have just talked about 2,000 here. No,
I agree.
Money
with you.
Is money.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yes,
I'm just saying kuna mtu ukipatia 2,000 hiyo kwake umemsaidia sana. Lakini kuna mtu ukipatia 80,000 anaona ni kama unamtukana. Anakuambia
kama ameenda ameitisha. Kama aenda ameitisha hiyo 80. You give him. You give him.
Attention sir. Do you know how much I charge to MC events? Mimi wewe nipatie 80,000 nikuje kwa harusi yako.
Sasa hiyo ni wewe. I want to tell you outside here there are people who do not value the life of others.
Okay.
And that is why Kenyans most of times utapata unaweza jiuliza like mtu alipewa tu 100,000 akaenda akaua mwingine. Yeah, so I'm telling you there are some people outside there who do not care.
Yeah.
They do not value the life of others.
Actually,
and that is why they will take 2,000, another one will take 5,000, will ask you for 80,000 because to them you are nothing. We have actually seen cases in this country where assassins were paid even as little as 5,000. Yes. And somebody comes and shoots you.
When you find someone who's an auxiliary worker somewhere, maybe ni jamaa wa shamba, kazi yake ni kukata nyasi kwa shamba yako au kufanya weeding, alafu unampatia 5,000 unamwambia go finish my husband or go finish my wife or go finish the clanet to my husband or go finish the clanet to my wife. We have seen that. Mpaka unaangalia mtu akiwa kotini. Unasema yani for 5k
only.
For 5k
only.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that you should be paid more, but do you know there are some people if you are to give them a good amount of money, they will do that job for you. Yeah, the country we live in. So anyway, in regards to CS,
for whatever amount, for whatever amount you will be given, please respect other people's lives. Yes, just respect life. Hata kama we heshimu tu maisha tu ya mtu.
Kweli. We shouldn't get to a point whereby mimi usemanga mtu akikukasirisha sana si uachane tu na yeye. You know? Mtu amekukosea sana kama hata historia ya Albert Ojwang. Whoever did this particular thing, like what was so hard about ignoring this guy? Because yes, you would have he would have probably made that story trend for a day or two and that story would have just died like that. You know, but I was watching a blogger just the other day and he said that there are two ways of silencing a whistleblower. Number one, you either finish them or you bribe them. So you want to snitch on me, Patricia, I call you nakwambia Patricia ni nini unataka kwenda kuambia mdosi stories zangu. Fanya hivi, sinikubaia lunch unyamaze. Uniambia pana Mbuvi mimi labda nilipia rent ya huu mwezi. Ndio ninyamaze nikwambia sawa. Rent yako ni how much? Unaniambia nalipa hiyo story na nyamaza. Lakini nikiona utaki pia nikulipia rent nakwambia si nikulipia rent basi. Unasema pana Mbuvi.
Hii lazima nifikishe.
Lazima boss ajue.
Hii lazima boss ajue.
Nikwambie okay, fanya hivi basi. Najua uko na mtoto wako shule. Wacha nimlipie basi school fees ya huu mwaka. Useme ai hapana.
Can't bribe me.
Niko na hata mimi niko na school fees naweza lipa. Nikwambie okay fine. Ngoja kidogo. I know you want to start doing your PhD. Can I fund your PhD? Useme sawa. You see that you have silenced you. But ukisema hapana, I can fund my own PhD. Naona sasa huyu I can't buy her. There's only one way out of this.
Well,
anyway, that is what unfortunately happens when you get yourself entangled in some very serious issues. Let's continue. Still looking at the Standard. On page 11 it says outrage as SHA issues new letters to employees despite court order. So hapa kuna picture ya Dr. Mercy Mwangangi and this is what they have quoted this whole SHA situation. The deployment of staff at the Social Health Authority has sparked outrage with concerns raised over contempt of court and significant salary reductions. This follows issuance of deployment letters to the Public Service Commission to former NHIF employees who are currently serving under SHA. Now, at least 215 deployment letters have been dispatched with an additional 400 on the way. Staff across various levels, including top management, general staff and directors, have got the letters. Now, the staff have been seconded to SHA following the repeal of the NHIF Act in November 2023. Now, sources privy to the matter told the Standard that some of the affected employees have since been deployed to the Ministry of Culture, while others have been redirected to PSC awaiting new posting. Well, at least they've not been fired.
That's
because I know of someone who used to work at the now defunct NHIF. Na wali for a very long time walikuwa wamekabila kazi. Yeah. Walikuwa wanaenda tu kwa ofisi kuangaliana.
There's nothing to do.
Yes. Munafika kwa ofisi.
Ukae wakisha time yako imeisha, you go back home.
And then at one point they were told to reapply. So you've been in NHIF for let's even say 2 decades. All right?
Yes.
At the end of when you get to your retirement, of course, there are some benefits you expect.
Sure.
They were told you imeenda hivyo. Yeah, imeenda hivyo.
Well, since they are still in government, I think then maybe later.
Yeah.
Because they have not been they've not
Actually,
been sacked.
I think I should be calling
they
that
are
person.
still they are still in government. Then it means
and that's what I'm
will be
saying.
Considered.
I thank God at least they were not fired, because they were told reapply. You know what reapplying means? You have been fired. Now apply again, we hire you.
We want fresh terms. Well, most of the time maybe the reapplication comes with fresh terms in terms of maybe pay, in terms of your areas, your responsibilities, your role, your duties, and so forth. And then also, like you're saying, it might affect your former agreement. Yeah. So if they are still in government, then I think it is okay.
All right. Let's just hope things go good for them. Do you have something on the Nation? Is that the Nation, right?
Yes, this is the Daily Nation. There are several stories. The first story, of course, we had talked about it. There is a story about Dare's life and times, a tale full of daring. I was reading also in some of the other newspapers a story where he said that he never cared when people were questioning about
the miracle babies.
Yes, and the issue to do with the DNA. You have a child that does not have
your
mother, and so he told people, don't worry about the DNA. It doesn't matter. This is a miracle.
This is God's DNA. This is God's DNA. How can you tell God's DNA?
Don't worry about the DNA. So that is where now some of these things, they are funny, but of course what we know is, of course, is he lived his life.
Yeah,
he did a lot of things. He's in the books of history in our country, of course, and even where he was. And
he was one of the most controversial religious leaders, if I may put it.
That's why I'm saying he is in the books of history in our country.
We thought we had seen them all. After there, we thought we had seen it all, rather. Tukajua hii imeisha. Until we got others who are doing. You remember the story of fake miracles?
Yes.
Ilisemwa na wakati mmoja na jicho pevu. Moha. When we were showed this Nairobi pastor who used to perform miracles, mara anatoa chuma kwa miguu yako, mara needles kwa miguu yako, and people used to believe this nonsense. You are told that uko na mashetani, kumbe you're just okay. Someone, it's just, and I usually say this, by the way, nasiko baya. Me, I'm a very spiritual person. But I usually say this, before you rush to your religious leader for deliverance, can you just confirm that whatever you're going through is not your fault? You understand? For example, usiende kuombewa uanze kupata pesa na wewe mwenyewe hujaitafuta kazi.
Unajua hata ukipata kazi you are not doing your best.
Unaenda kwa pastor wako, unaanza kumwambia, mimi aki pastor, nimekuanga nikijaribu kufanya kazi, nimekuwa sijai kupata pesa, sinanga kazi, na wewe mwenyewe siko ubaya but hujaitafuta kazi, ama zile kazi unataka you're not qualified for them. Ama zile kazi unataka wewe mwenyewe hata hujaifiki, hata even once hujai attempt kufanya kitu kama hiyo, and when you get to the workplace kazi yako ni kukunywa pombe, you never show up to work, you never come to work late, then unaenda kwa father ama pastor akuombee mashetani ya kutoke na wewe ndio mlevi. You have an addiction, go get treated for that addiction, go for counseling so that you can stop drinking and using mihadarati, so that when you finally get employed you can stick to that job. Wacha kuombewa mashetani zenye aziko, wewe ndio shetani.
We don't want to get so much into into religion, but there is also this story of even the children of Israel when they are coming from Egypt. Like most of the time these miracles that you want, there is also a responsibility to it. So don't just expect a miracle without a responsibility. There is something that God would want you to do. Kama ni pesa unataka, of course it is expected that you are supposed also to work, right?
True.
For you to get that. Look at when they reached that is it the Red Sea where they were supposed
where
to
it was parted.
Yes, there was an instruction to Moses: use your rod, strike
strike the rock,
yes,
to get
to
water.
strike whatever they do. So the point is, those miracles you are really yearning for, there is a responsibility to them.
Okay.
So you need to understand that usikue na ndio maana watu wanaingia kwa cults, wanashindwa kutoka.
Yeah, like the Shakahola situation.
Yes. Well, still in that newspaper, there is a story on politics about why Ruto critics in Nyanza are trooping to State House. In recent weeks, all 4 Nyanza governors, Gladys Wanga, Ochilo Oyako, James Orengo na Anyang' Nyong'o, had held talks with President Ruto. You can find this story on page 10. The issue with, and that's why we were saying that most of the time, when the president comes to your area, they say he comes with goodies.
Yes.
And that is what we have been witnessing in Nyanza, seeing a lot of goodies.
Yes.
Just because the president
amekuja kwenu. But we also said we hope that at the end of the day, don't get development just because the president has come to your area or you have gone to see that president at State House. Get development because your area deserves development.
Yes.
Yeah? All right.
Yes, because in that in that story that is on page 10 of the daily newspaper, it says most of the leaders had previously insisted that development was a constitutional right, and that is what we know. Actually, that is what we know, that development is a constitutional right to each and every county. It's not a matter or each region. It's not a matter of now the head of the country has come to your area. That is when you get development.
And you actually said at the beginning of the show that what is the revenue allocation formula? And how do we determine Machakos County should get X amount of money and Wajir should get X amount of money? At the end of the day, if those mikakatis work and we stop politicizing this development, my friend, kila kitu itakuwa sawa sawa.
Yeah, you're looking at what also the president said, that he said that no region or community will be left behind in transforming Kenya. Inclusive development powers every sector and value chain, he wrote. He promised to complete key initiatives in the blue economy, which we know, like Nyanza, that is Kisumu, most part of Nyanza. This is they are concerned with blue economy, such as he was talking of Kabonyo Fisheries and Agricultural Center, which was projected to produce 25 to 30 million fingerings annually. So it's just a matter of supporting those initiatives in the Nyanza region, and of course we have seen this because the president was there.
Yeah.
Kumbuka kwanza hata Madaraka tulipeleka kule. Naona Madaraka tulipeleka kule. So next,
the celebrations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next tunangojea.
I don't mind the president doing all these rounds, and especially when he devolved the celebrations. And I think it started with President Uhuru, where tukaanza kufanya different national events in different counties. That's a good thing. People need to feel close, as being close to power. They need to feel they're connected to the president, because at the end of the day, the president is the symbol of national unity, because the president is elected by every corner of this country. So akikuja Kitui County, akikuja Isiolo, akikuja Wajir, akikuja Marsabit, akikuja Turkana, we enjoy and we like it, because at the end of the day we are seeing the person that we elected. You can imagine if you never see your employee.
Well,
mtu nipatia kazi ya kuoshea nyumba hata umuonangi.
But that is why tukona pia other leaders.
Yeah,
it's not a must that as a president or as the governor you be going to every area of your county or the country.
But we also need to see that you're working. Yes, we need to know that you're working, and we need to see that you're working.
Personally, let me tell you personally, I am for development, whether the president comes or he does not come. That is what I know.
Yeah.
Constitutionally, this is a right to everybody in this country. Tunataka development. Hii story ya kwamba mpaka rais akuje so that mpate hii that is not.
I think we agree on that one.
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely agree on that.
There's another story here.
Yeah.
About a win for salaried workers in affordable housing plan. that Kotu boss says no further construction of markets using the housing levy. You remember we talked of that story
They
here.
wanted to redirect funds there.
Some of the funds, and you know, they were saying, okay, this is what they have been claiming, that, for example, we are building over 10,000 houses in one area. Imagine that place needs a market. We agree on that. That place needs schools, needs amenities, so many of them. But then now the issue was, if we have contributed, I have contributed money as Triciah, right, for housing. That money should be just be directed to me, like I want to secure a house. Hiyo pesa yangu iwekwe pale. So when you divert those funds, maybe unasema sasa inaenda kujenga, how will I account? I think issues are to do with markets, construction, amenities. This is a right that every Kenyan has, right?
Yep.
So it is now the work of the national government to do that. I don't think it's supposed to come from the funds that we have contributed for houses.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right.
Yeah, so I think they need to, because that one will account to the construction of whatever house I've wanted.
And see that again boils down to that whole issue of budget allocation and even preparing that budget. Kwani sasa tulikuwa tunasema 10 billion ende kwa nyumba, then tunafika katikati tunasema ama tujenge markets. See, that's the problem. Because even, I don't know about you, but even me in my household, when we say, you know, 5,000 is going to go towards rent, I won't get to the, you know, time of paying rent and then niseme ama badala ya kulipa rent ninunue maji. No, I have already allocated that money for rent. Ya maji nilikuwa nisha allocate, na hiyo ingine nilikuwa nisha allocate. So if a need arises in the middle, I will push it to a different month because it has a different budget. And sometimes you have to look for funds outside your income to actually fund that particular project.
Yeah, so you know, they were talking of 400 markets already under construction. They had already started. 400 markets had already started, and this is what the Kotu boss Francis Atwoli said, that it's in exceptional cases where key facilities such as schools cannot be built within a housing project, the government may support nearby facilities to ensure service delivery aligns with the fund's primary objective. That is why I said the primary objective of that fund is to do the affordable houses.
Yeah.
That, of course, will be granted to people who have contributed, who have paid.
Right.
So now, another key point to take out of this is that employees who contribute to the housing levy will be given a top priority.
Right.
That is key.
Okay. I mean,
siwe kwamba mimi nakatwa pesa ya nyumba, then tukienda kupewa zile nyumba, unapata people who are not being deducted that money,
right,
yeye ndiye amepewa priority.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that is fair enough for Kenyans who are contributing towards this fund.
We're in agreement.
Yeah, we are so much in agreement on that.
I think we have 3 more minutes. Is there another story that we can tackle before we exit for the news?
Well, we have a lot of stories here, and there's a story of it was about call for UN help to probe police brutality. Okay, yes, this one we had talked about.
Right.
Well, let me check.
I mean, if we can get the UN to also look into this particular issue, but sometimes this is the problem I have with the United Nations. It is good. Sometimes they make lots of noise, and sometimes they also direct funding through the various departments and the agencies they have within the umbrella of UN. The only issue is how that particular help is disbursed. Sometimes it comes in terms of funding, sometimes it comes in terms of direct what, like they get involved directly, so that's direct involvement. And it's like they always dance. It's like they're stepping on eggshells because they don't want to upset the political class. Kama unakuja kusaidia mtu bana, wewe kuja na usaidie completely. Usikuja kusaidia shingo upande. Kuja usaidie completely, ingiza miguu yote ndani ya hiyo matope, and let's get to the bottom of this particular issue. So if the UN wants to help, of course, why not? They have experts.
Welcome, yeah?
Yeah, they have experts. Let them come in, but at the end of the day isikuwe tu ni ku waste time na ku prolong issues na wanakuja wanapeana ka report kanakaa vague. Ka report kanakaa juju ni kama kaliguza ni kama akakuguzwa. Anyway, let's give a few shout outs before we get into the news. I want to give a big shout out to the following individuals that I have seen on Facebook already tuned in. Bedo tunasema asante tena sana for coming through. So here we go. We have Joe Hamaniel. A very good morning. You're saying that you're listening to us from Nairobi. Richard Valentino unasema a very good morning Mungala and Triciah. I'm loving the sound that you're giving us this morning. Thank you very much. Patrick Mabure unasema good morning. I just found a new home as far as morning conversations are concerned. Thank you very much for coming through.
Yes, you are so much welcome.
Yes. And then kuna Andrew Gaucho anasema, niaje yose, thank you so much for giving us meaningful conversations. Thank you so much. Who do you have on your end? I
have Nelson Ojijo saying all the way from Mombasa, I'm tuning in, following bit by bit. Thank you so much for listening, for following. I also have Aleki. Ni Aleki. Aleki okay. From Alex. Okay. Oh, it's from Alex, eh? Yeah, yes, it's a name that was coined from Alex. So Aleki. Okay. Jina. Yeah, anasema kwamba I'm liking the show. Kuna Don K pia anasema he's listening and following. Thank you so much Mbuvi and Triciah for the show. It's our pleasure. So the news is coming up next, and in the next hour we shall definitely let you know the direction we're taking as far as meaningful morning conversations are concerned. Remember 88 in Nairobi and 90.7 across Mombasa. rgk.co.ke. This is the People's Breakfast, the home of hard truths and bold insights.
It's 8 o'clock.
The sound is fine, pump it up, turn it high, all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. The Independent Policing Oversight Authority has summoned DIG Eliud Lagat to record a statement as part of the ongoing investigation into the death of a teacher and blogger Albert Ojwang while in police custody. In a statement issued on Wednesday, IPOA Chair Issa Kassan disclosed that it has sought mobile phone data from service providers for individuals of interest in the case. Hassan added that the authority has seized digital video footage from Central Police Station where Ojwang was held. They have also submitted biological samples to the government chemist for analysis.
Having found basis, IPO has now issued summons to the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Mr. Eliud Lagat, to appear before the authority's investigations team to record a statement. The authority appeals for calm and assures Kenyans that in the quest for justice in this matter, there will be no sacred cows. Anyone found culpable will be prosecuted.
18 people have died in Kenya following a cholera outbreak that has spread across 7 counties during the ongoing rainy season. Health Cabinet Secretary Eden Duale said the national government is working with counties to contain the spread of the disease. The affected counties are Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Migori, Homa Bay, Kwale, and Turkana. The health CS said contingency measures have been put in place to limit the spread of the disease, adding that surveillance teams and public health officers are on high alert. Kenya's matatu industry is warning of a looming financial crisis after losing 40% of its revenue in Nairobi during Tuesday's protest. Operators are now calling for urgent dialogue to prevent mass job losses, vehicle repossession, and a complete breakdown of public transport in major towns. The Matatu Owners Association said the demonstrations, which paralyzed movement and saw businesses vandalized, cost the Nairobi segment of the industry an estimated 150 million shillings in just one day. The city has about 25,000 Matatus on the road daily, each earning roughly 15,000 shillings, mostly from 33-seaters and larger vehicles. Donald Trump has approved plans to attack Iran, but has not made a final decision on whether to strike the country, the CBS reports. The US president held off on initiating strikes in case Iran's agreed to abandon its nuclear program, a senior intelligence source told CBS. Trump is reportedly considering a US strike on Fordo, an underground uranium enrichment facility in Iran. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali on Wednesday rejected Trump's demand for unconditional surrender as the US president said his patience had run out. That's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning, I'm Winnie Mbagani.
In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generations, the people's breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights, Radio Generation.
Indeed, a very good welcome to you. This is Radio Generation. My name is Mungala Mbuvi. It is 4 minutes past 8 o'clock, and you are listening to the home of hard truths and bold insights.
Yes, and of course, this is the People's Breakfast with me, Triciah, Wayua, and Mungala Mbuvi. Those of you who want to listen to Radio Generation, it is 88.8 in Nairobi, 90.7 in Mombasa, 92.1 Malindi, 92.6 Lamu, and those of you in Garissa, it is 89.5. Welcome again to this hour, and of course here we will be discussing there's a plan here, Mbuvi, State House delegation, how Ruto is plotting 2027 comeback.
All right, obviously.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Would you vote for the current president again?
Wanasemanga kura yako siri yako. Kura yako siri yako. And that one I would have answered regardless of whoever is in office.
Yes.
The same way I won't tell you who I voted for as governor and who I will vote for as governor come 2027. MP, MCA, senator, or whatever.
You'll never say I voted for this.
No, it is
so
because
if you voted in a leader whom you feel like they are failing you,
yes.
Unakufa tu kimoyomoyo nasema next time
actually
I won't.
Actually, this is the attitude I'd like Kenyans to adopt. Do not be afraid of the leader, or rather, do not shy away. That's the word I think I should use. Do not shy away from the leader that you voted, but learn from that disappointment that you have.
Well,
yeah. For instance, sorry, allow me to say this. For instance, if you voted for an MCA who has not delivered. I want you to marinate on that disappointment. Yes, it's okay to be angry.
Yes.
It's okay to feel cheated. It is okay to feel like that you probably had not seen things correctly. But it is actually important to realize that the next time you have an opportunity to vote for someone, you will vote for someone who you are certain you will be proud of what they shall do for you. And that is why I said, let us stop voting for manifestos. Let us vote for a holistic individual. As you're looking at the manifesto, please, most importantly, look at the character. And I will always use family analogies. Ni kama ukitafuta baby ama bwana wa kuoa ama wa kuolewa. You look at someone's character. Yes, you want a beautiful person, for sure.
Yes, of course.
Yes. However, beauty is not everything in a relationship. You understand? So I will not choose you just because you look good. Me, I want to choose you because I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And that is how we need to look at politics. You need to vote for someone who you are certain you will live with the consequences of their leadership. You understand?
Yes.
So if someone is a thug, if someone is a criminal, you ukienda kuweka your ballot, wewe kuwa sure that you are going to live with the consequences of the leader that you chose. So that's my long short version of your question.
Okay, well, I think I would have phrased it differently.
Yeah,
I would have
phrased
okay,
it.
yeah, this is what maybe I would have asked you, like how satisfied are you with the performance of the current administration?
All right, that's a fair question.
Yes, at a range of that is between 1 and 10. How satisfied
you
are
should
you
have asked
with
me
the
from
performance?
0 to 10.
0 to 10.
Because
Yes.
I might end up saying hakuna kitu nimeona.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a fair question. So as an individual, me, I come from I will look at it from different perspectives.
Yes.
Number one, I am a parent. I am a partner to someone. I am also an employee. And I'm a business person.
Yes.
And I'm a creative. So I will answer using those specifics. All right.
Yes.
So as a parent, am I happy with what the administration has done in regards to my children, for example? We are seeing a lot of issues with our education system, the CBC.
Yes.
Yenye sasa nasikia ni kama imekuwa CBE. We shall get into that later. So I am seeing a lot of improvements in certain areas of our education system, but I'm also seeing places where have been left behind and we have ignored.
What areas are those?
For instance, at one point mimi nilisikia education is free. Yeah. Lakini mimi ninaona vitu things are not free anywhere as far as the education system is concerned. All right. We expected that this particular education system is going to help our children in certain areas and reduce the burden on parents. If anything, it has increased the burden on our parents, or rather on parents. So as a parent, I am disappointed in a couple of things.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
But I also recognize that CBC haikuanga ya the current administration. It was brought in by a different administration.
Yes.
So I will not blame it.
You just give them a benefit of doubt, yeah?
Yes. I will not be unfair on the current administration. However, I expect the current administration to assist in that particular area. When walieka na wakaenda. Aya. Wacha nikuje niseme as an employee and as a businessman, I will put them together in one analysis. We saw a lot of redundancies happening because of the economic situation our country is facing. You know, I have a vehicle that I have to fuel every single time. I'm either going to work or I'm going to my business. So what does that mean? I'm spending more money than I was spending in the previous administration. As far as my work and whatever is concerned. I've also seen people who are laid off. I have relatives who have been laid off, and they now depend on me and other members of my family.
Yes.
So I have to take care of someone else's child's school fees. I have to take care of someone else, and not just my child, but I'm saying plus someone else's. I have to take care of someone else's medical care because they lost their jobs. Yes. And they're unable to provide for themselves. So there's another burden on me because of the current economic situation. Myself, pia kuna wakati nilitoka kazini into the job market, out of the job market. All right, because of what? An employer who was unable to pay salaries. You understand?
Yes.
So in regards to that, I am unhappy with the administration, and I can go on and on and on and on.
So, according to your explanation,
yes,
I can gladly say that you're giving it a rate of.
Okay, 4. Now if you're going from 0 to 10, you asked me that question.
Yes.
From 0 to 10, I will give them A for attempting. All right. On the score, to be honest, mimi ninawapatia a 2.3.
So I was even giving you more. 4. I've given you 4.
I will give them a 2.3.
So yes. the current administration, according to you, has a lot. It's just actually below average.
Yes.
They have a lot to work on.
Na meeting expectation.
They are not even. They are just below expectation. That is according to you.
Is below. Yeah. So for me, I will say it is below expectation. And you've asked me that as a Kenyan.
Yes.
So as a Kenyan, I've answered you. Yes. Okay. So let me throw that question back to you.
Well, I think for me, I don't know. Let me give them a 6.
Okay.
Yeah, 6,
Alright.
and I'll still use the same pointers that you've used, especially in terms of maybe education. Well, what we are seeing, first of all, my disappointment in terms of education is during Kibaki's time, the late, I think, not even Kibaki's, Kibaki and Uhuru's time,
Right.
issues to do with education, they were given a matter of priority, by the way, and that is the reason why the president had come up with that transition, 100% transition. Like ukitoka primary, we want 100% transition to secondary schools. We want 100% transition to tertiary education and to the university. But then right now, it is something that I have not heard the current president really putting pressure on it. Yeah. So people are just going, and that is why even the budget for allocated for education, you saw the other day, it was slashed. We are talking of issues to do with the feeding program in schools,
Right.
and that we have seen it has been really slashed. And like I said, education, it will only work if you are, first of all, you are comfortable. A child who is hungry is not able to concentrate in class, right?
True.
A child who does not have a place to sleep, has no shelter, will not concentrate in this in a class, right?
True story.
So education might probably not work for him because somehow they will drop out of school. So this feeding program was also an encourager to parents to take their kids to school. You get, and also we're looking at other places whereby we are seeing people in classes, like we are seeing students wanasoma chini ya miti, jamani.
Kweli.
Chini ya miti. That is something that we need at this century. That is something that as an administration they needed to have continued the legacy that the former presidents had started.
All right.
It doesn't mean now you have come and you no longer care about the 100% transition. You no longer care about the feeding programs. That will really affect, and that is why I said that is a disappointment.
Yeah.
You get?
Yeah.
That is a disappointment. There's also the new CBC, the new curriculum
Yes.
that started before.
Yeah.
It is something I think we were starting a journey which we did not know where we were going.
I feel like we knew where we were going.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
So-
I do. I'll be very honest.
Okay, let me finish.
But
I
we shall
thought-
tackle the education
Yes,
study baadaye.
later. Yeah, we will. By the way, we'll dig into it later. So I felt like we were not so sure where we were going, but I'm seeing the president is like is trying to find a way. He's trying to find a way. The issue of the housing, it started. It is not him who started.
Right.
Yes, that's somebody. That was somebody else dream.
Idea, yeah.
Idea. But we have seen amesukuma.
Ndio.
You get, although it has its shortcomings, a lot of them, of course, but I feel I would like to see a country like we had given an example yesterday of Kibra.
Yep.
We would like to see like a city like this one, people living in decent houses.
Yep.
So that one, me naizampatia tick, like kwamba he has taken this idea and is still pushing it. Well, there are so many other areas where he's still also failing. Other places you'll give him a tick. That is why I'm saying I'm gonna give him. I'd given him 6. Was it 6?
6, yes.
No, wacha niteremshe. Wacha nishukishe.
Hakuna kubadilisha.
Wacha nishukishe because you know when also he was coming on board.
Yeah.
I remember telling people, okay, so you know watu wengi by the way walikuwa wanaongea, then I'm like, okay, hebu tuoneni tunapelekwa up. Maybe it is us who are not understanding the dream.
Yes.
The bottom up, a lot of things inside that bottom up.
Right.
So I was like, okay, let's just give him time. We see.
I mean, he still has more time.
Yeah,
He
because
still
there's
has
still
some
time.
time remaining.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
2 years is something to work with. Now,
so far, we are seeing,
and we are seeing something is happening.
Yes.
But the story that that you have highlighted there is of him re-strategizing and seeing ways how he can salvage the presidency. and get into 2027 looking stronger,
Yes.
so that he can garner the votes that he's looking for. So what he's right to do that. He is.
Let me first of all read the story,
Okay,
a
read it,
bit
please.
of it, and this is what it says, that from April to date, he has hosted elected leaders, clergy, as well as grassroots mobilizers. Yes, from April. So he says President William Ruto has escalated State House engagements with various regional leaders in what now appears to be a new tact to secure his 2027 re-election. The new strategy, going hand in hand with the cross-country tours, the ones we were talking about, appears to be part of the president's broader re-election scheme. From April to date, the president has hosted 22 delegations at State House. 22 of them, house consisting of elected leaders, the clergy, politicians, professionals, as well as grassroots mobilizers. The teams are drawn from Central Coast, Nyanza, Eastern, Northeastern, Rift Valley, and Western regions. Ruto's deputy Kithure Kindiki has also not been left behind, with his residence a beehive of activities, hosting back-to-back delegation of leaders from across the country. The visits are framed as development consultations. I think that is the keyword, development consultations are increasingly being viewed as part of Ruto's broader plan to end himself to the regions, consolidate loyalty, and shape the political arithmetic. So
let me tell you something.
Well, kidogo tu,
Yeah.
it is a poorly, this is what the writer says, it is a poorly disguised campaign strategy that enables the president and his deputy make inroads into the areas that they think are critical for their continued stay in power and for purpose of recapturing power in 2027.
Okay. Wahenga walisema hivi siku moja ama wakati fulani, tulifunzwa katika darasa I think standard 4 there about. Walisema chema cha juza
Kibaya cha jitembeza.
Tuseme tena chema cha kizuri ama ni chema?
Whichever to whichever.
Kizuri cha jiuza,
kibaya cha jitembeza. Takiona. Takiona sema kama hiki ni kizuri.
Kinajitembeza. Kile kibaya. When I first got employed, when I first signed my first contract ever in this country of ours, this beautiful Kenya, there's something I was told that was going to happen 3 months into my employment. Number one, I was given something called a probation. All right? Now, for those who are listening and have got no idea what a probation period is, probation ile unaingia watu wanaangalia venye unafanya kazi,
kuona unafanyaje kazi,
then they determine how you are going to perform, or rather if you're a good performer,
or if you'll be taken in,
kama kazi inawezekana. Then after 3 months they tell you, like for me niliambiwa, Mungala Mbuvi, kazi njema, sasa tumekupatia a contract yenye itamaliza nini, itamaliza mwaka mzima. Then 6 months into that permanent, let me call it permanent contract, I was called in for something called an appraisal. Now, if you're listening to me and you're wondering what an appraisal is where they check your performance, where you have to evaluate yourself, and then your employer evaluates you. So an appraisal is where kwanza kuna maswali unaulizwa pale, na unasema, for example, being a radio presenter, you're supposed to be here in good time.
Yes.
So Mbuvi, have you been coming to work on time?
Yes, I have.
This is you evaluating yourself even before your boss evaluates you. Unasema yes, I come on time. Na kama ukujangi on time, you have to be honest with yourself. Because there are two people I told you can't lie to. God na wewe mwenyewe.
Yes.
So you say there, enyewe kama Mbuvi mimi enyewe mi uchelewa kazini. So unaweka hapo X. Kitu ingine, the things that we said you would do when you come here, do you do them? Yes or no? So at the end of the day, once you finish evaluating yourself, now your boss evaluates you, because sometimes unajua unaweza jitandika viboko anakuambia enyewe umekuwa ukikuja on time. Na pia anakupatia nafasi ya kujiexplainia kama haujakuwa ukikuja on time. Unasema, hey boss, enyewe mali naishi ni mbali. Ningehamia hapa karibu, lakini huku manyumba ni expensive. I have really tried. I want to come closer to the office but I can't. Then once you finish appraising yourself and your boss appraises yourself, there is a score. So that score can be anything from 0 to 100%. You understand?
Yes.
So if it is below average, and below average, yes, of course it's 50, my friend, you are going home. Hiyo kazi imeisha. But also unapatiwa nafasi ya kujitetea. For example, tumesema unachelewa sababu unaishi mbali.
Yes.
So mdosi hata anaweza kuongezea kamshahara.
Nasema acha nikuongeze. Nyumba ni pesa ngapi? Ama kuongezea. Ama
mdosi anaweza fanya nini? They can even allow you, they can even acquire a vehicle for you. Or they can procure a driver for you to be picking you from home. So that at least uache kuchelewa. Okay, kuna vitu tulisema ukifika hapo utakuwa unafanya, mbona uzifanyi? Unamwambia boss, mimi amenipatia internet, I'm unable to do research. So I don't know what I'm talking about when I get on air. Anakwambia ni internet too, they buy you what? Airtime. So that you can these excuse ndogo ziishe. Then after another 6 months, they do another appraisal. My friend, if in that appraisal ya pili you have not performed after you have been given every single resource available, you are going home. They will employ someone else because you're making losses for the company. You understand?
Yeah.
So now let me put it into context of a government. We need to do something called an appraisal.
Yes.
For our government. And the government also needs to appraise itself.
Yes.
Wajiangalia waseme, first of all, walitupatia manifesto. You remember you asked me about manifesto in the morning?
Yes.
Watoe manifesto yao na waseme tuliambia wa Kenya tutafanya
hii. Yes.
Tumefanya ama hatujafanya? Pia wa Kenya wachukue ile manifesto because ipo. Tuseme walisema wamefanya. Then now we compare notes.
Yes.
Na tuulize hawa watu wote. Serikali munatuitisha kura come 2027.
Yes.
Yet what you told us you're going to do, you have either done or not. Let me go back. Kizuri chajiuza, kibaya chajitembeza. Mimi sioni haja ya kufanya campaigns.
Yes.
Because the moment you have delivered,
people will just give you votes.
The only campaign you're doing is actually announcing the good works you have done. And sometimes it is not even you announcing, it is the people you have done for.
Yes.
Wewe ukienda leo hospitali na utibiwe vizuri, kama juzi mimi nienda hospitali na nikatibiwa, I've been singing praises about my doctors and the hospital where I was treated. And today if anyone is sick and they ask me, Mbuvi, where do I go? Nawaambia nenda pahali fulani, hapo ndipo utafanya nini? Utapata matibabu. Na nikienda mahali pengine nikose kutibiwa, nitaambia watu usiende huko, ni kubaya. Don't go there. You might even end up dying. So kizuri chajiuza, kibaya chajitembeza. So if you guys do not work for 5 years, you will spend 5 years working, trying to convince people that they need to vote for you. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I think that's fair enough.
Yes.
Especially
I think I should get a job as a political analyst.
Of course. That's what we are basically doing here, because we're just looking at because according to the paper, they are saying that is a plot for 2027 comeback. And of course we have seen the president meeting different religious leaders. We have seen him meeting different leaders, different politicians and so forth, but apart from now plotting for 2027, I think also when they meet, when he meets my governor, he's able to understand the problems of my area.
Yes.
You get? He'll be able to get to understand, okay, these are the problems in this area. This is what we really need to address. And like I had said, there is still more time. But the government still has a lot of time ahead.
Yes.
There are so many things that can be corrected.
There
are so many things that can be done right.
Yeah. So 25 ijaisha bado?
Yeah, I think that is what I can tell the president.
Right.
There are so many things that can be done right. There are so many things that can be corrected.
Yeah.
There are so many other new things that can be introduced in the manifestos that chenye alianza nazo. Kuna zingine tu anaweza kuongezea. Kama like, oh yeah, this was not in my manifesto, but nikiangalia naona itasaidia Mkenya. Nikiangalia naona itafanya hivi. You get?
And also even like again, I like using family setups. If you've not performed well for your partner, your girlfriend or your boyfriend, when they appraise you now, you are falling short. You know, you could always say, babe, I'm so sorry. I failed in this area because of kidogo nimekuwa na shida za kiakili. We can go for counseling.
Yes.
So you can become a better partner.
Sindio? By the way,
babe, nimekuwa hapa kidogo nimeanguka because nimesota. Let's start a business. Maybe I've been looking for employment in the wrong area and it's not coming. Let's do a business. And then you get money, then you treat your partner better.
So are you saying that maybe the president would just check and say, these people who are surrounding me, these people nimewapatia nafasi, pengine they are the ones that are failing me.
To be honest, sometimes that can be the reason.
In this area, so maybe I can sit down and re-strategize. I can sit down and get another maybe cabinet, whatever.
And guess what? The evidence is right there on your face. Kenyans are always complaining of A, B, C, D things. All right? Sasa wewe angalia nani amesimamia hizo vitu. Angalia nani amesimamia A.
Which ideally is not just the responsibility of the president. Even though the president has the whole mantle lies on him.
The president is the master and commander.
Yes, everything lies on him. So he can also decide like, no, huyu nimemweka hapa ni advice. Every time he comes and advises me, hiyo kitu inaenda ina fail.
Yes.
It fails. Tukienda kwa mwananchi ina fail. So this person I need to get him out of this, yeah?
For example, you remember there's a time the president said that Kenya wanted to host the Grammy Awards.
Yeah.
Now, the president is not a musician. He's not an artist.
True.
Or maybe he is, I don't know.
Yes.
But as far as I know, he's not. So I don't expect him to be knowing much about the Grammys. But there are people within his government.
There's someone there
that know.
In that docket.
There are friends of his that know about the Grammys. For example, Chipukizi ako katika serikali.
Yes.
Anafanya kazi State House saizi.
Kabisa.
All right?
Yes.
There's a very good friend of mine. Boni Musambi is in government.
Yes.
Works at State House. He is a musician actually. He even has music on YouTube. He knows a thing or two about the Grammys. He could have told the president, hey, Orezo hapa kidogo umeenjoywa. Historia nini?
Sijui tunaleta nini hapa kidogo sioni.
We have seen the president meeting other artists. Akina Ben Gidai, akina Samido. Wasanii ni wengi. So anafaa kuuliza wasanii, wase, hii kitu ya Grammys nikileta Kenya, is Kenya going to be better than it was the day before? Wamwambie president, number one, Grammys have never been hosted outside America. So that one is impossible.
Yes.
That 500 million
you want to set aside for this.
Just put construct a studio, various studios for wasanii
creatives in our country.
Hiyo 500 million by the ukijenga two studios in the major counties where it is accessible to Kenyans, utakuwa umesaidia wasanii. You see? So he should obviously fire some of the advisors, fire some of the CSAs and the PSAs and the directors, because they're just not giving him the right advice.
Yeah, if you have the wrong tools in place, most definitely you're not going to succeed in whatever you are doing. And that is now, I think that is where now the problem is. But that is where the problem is. And again, also Pia, you may be given advice, depends with how also you take it.
Kuna watu ambao hata uwaambia aje, it's like kupigia mbuzi gitaa venye tunashindanga tukisema. You can advise some, there are some individuals you can never advise, according to a Kenyan proverb. A woman who's in love and a man who has got money. Huyo mtu watu, when someone has got money, hata umwambie boss,
umwambie nini
twende ukalale, anasemanga pana, it is my money, I will spend it the way I want.
I want to go and spend my money.
And a woman who is in love, hata ukimwambia this man will kill you, anakuambianga he is my husband, leave me alone. Right?
Actually, she will hate you.
Yes, you atakuangalia
forever, even if you are the parent. Hujaona watu wanakosana na wazazi wao just because mzazi alitry kuingililia mapenzi ya huyo mrembo. Waambia bana, no, nikifungua macho that is
the only person I see.
Yes, so it's important. But what I would say is, the president maybe he's doing fairly.
We shall
and we appreciate that.
We have to of course we will recognize the parts where he has done exceptionally well, but we shall also call out what we
on
feel
areas where he needs to improve.
Let's do the traffic, then we return with that conversation as also we delve into this whole education debacle.
Traffic.
All right. Watu ambao wanako Bunyala Road, I can see you guys are in deep traffic. It's now what, 31 minutes past 8 o'clock. Why Douglas Wakihuri Road is bumper to bumper is beyond me. By now bana, mnafaa kwa mshafika maofisini kwenyu mkiwa tayari kufanya kazi. Let's get back to Mombasa Road. There's no traffic there. A little bit of traffic at Capital Center as you're getting onto Mombasa Road from the expressway, but the rest of the road is looking good. If I may go to Ngong Road, I'm looking at let me see where's Ngong Road. Oh yeah, here we are. So Ngong Road not looking bad at the moment. I can see just a little bit of traffic at Greenhouse, formerly Adams Arcade. There is traffic actually. Where is this interchange? At Map Veterinary Services, that junction there, as you're trying to access Ngong Road, that particular junction yote iko bumper to bumper. Ring Road, Kilimani as well, bumper to bumper, as you're also trying to access Ngong Road. If we go all the way to Garissa, because ninajua tuko na a lot of listeners in Garissa County. A very good morning to you. I hope wherever you are right now things are looking fantastico, but if they are not, I'll tell you it's because, not because rather of the road. I can see that the road is looking fairly flat or fairly empty. There's not much traffic to report as far as the Garissa area is concerned, and the access roads also getting into the Garissa CBD, if I may call it that, not looking bad as well.
Yeah, other roads, especially Jogoo Road, I'm seeing still things are not so much good, but they're still not so much bad, fairly moving. We also look at your way from Isili CBD. Ambiwa pia kila kitu kwa sasa hivi has settled down, but bado kuna traffic kidogo as you get to town. Same applies to Thika Road, Thika Super Highway. As you can see there, they're saying just around a Globe, around Pangani, those areas, once you reach ujue tu, I mean, any time of the day, you'll really find no traffic there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any time of the day there's zero traffic, and that is a paradise, eh? Alright, so that's the traffic update as of 8:33.
Traffic on Radio Generation.
Alright, welcome back. This is the People's Breakfast, where we are the home of hard truths and bold insights. And in the last 30 minutes, we were just talking about the bold insights that are in the current administration, the current government, whether it's in your counties or in the national government, and how we think things should be done. And definitely a conversation worth having, because at the end of the day, if we don't talk about it, then that means we are falling short in our civic duty, because we have a civic duty. And duty here means it is your responsibility to ensure that certain things happen, and you have to put your leaders into kwaratili wapime ndio waulize kama wanafanya kazi vizuri. If we can just dive into the CBC education, is it called education system? I'm not reading sasa. Yeah, there's a story that was in one of the newspapers. I think you were just about to read for us.
Yes, I have this story on the daily newspaper, and this is what it says about education. That education minister says Alana, okay, it's about TVETs. So it says TVETs set to adopt new curriculum by January. That's 2026.
All right.
And this is what the minister says, that learners can master a skill in 3 months and can be awarded a certificate. That's to do with issues to do with TVETs. And as you can always see, as you've always seen, there's a pass mark to joining the
universities and the colleges.
Then from there now we have the TVET institutions, whereby those people who did not qualify to get into the university, those people who did not qualify maybe to get to the other colleges, they get enrolled. And this story is written by, this news is written by Mishi Gongo, and this is what he says, that technical and vocational education and training, that is the TVET institutions, will fully transition to the competence-based education and training.
CBE.
That is the CBET.
Okay, so
for the primary, for the other, that is for
lower levels of education. Yeah.
Yes, they are doing the CBE instead of the CBC.
Competency-based education.
So now for the TVET training. So we will no longer call them the TVETs,
right,
because they are doing the CBET curriculum by January. A shift that is aimed at aligning skills development with labor market demands. This was revealed during a stakeholders forum held at Kenya Coast Polytechnic in Mombasa, where TVET principals from the coast region were sensitized on the ongoing reforms. That is a reform. Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Ogamba said the move is part of efforts to transform Kenya's education landscape and ensure that TVET graduates are competitive both locally and globally. We do not need to waste learners' time making them study common units that do not align with their career paths. You cannot tell me a mason must learn English just to be tested in it. Questioning the relevance of some general education requirements. We were in China the other day with just an earpiece. We could communicate effectively. This is where we need to go.
I have something to say about that. Okay. At what point do we start learning English? Because I feel like that statement there that was put by whoever said it. This is the writer. Okay, fine. So let me just say this. I have a problem. When do we start learning English?
Kizungu tunaanzia pale hata nursery school.
Kabisa. Si ndio uko ma PP1.
Actually that is the CS of education who said that.
Now me I have a problem with the statement by the CS, right? And I'm okay with us wanting to advance and making sure that we have an amazing education system for Kenyans, right? But we started learning English from PP1. And English is a universal language. You'd hardly go to an area in this world where utapata hata mtu mmoja anaongea Kizungu. Hata ukienda Saudi Arabia mali wanaongea tu Kiarabu peke yake. Hutakosa hata mtu mmoja anakuambia tu good morning hata kama hajui kitu kingine after that. You get? Now in this country of ours and largely in Africa.
Yes.
We start learning let me focus on Kenya kidogo. We start learning English from PP1 huko. Where we are taught A, B, C, D, right?
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
By the time you're getting to the university level, umesoma kutoka grade 1, okay, in our time it was standard 1, all the way mpaka standard 8.
Yes.
You are taught English.
Yes.
Conjunctions. You are taught idioms. You are taught, how to construct a sentence.
Tenses.
The tenses.
Told the past,
where
present,
you put the subject,
future,
the verb, and the object. You are taught English. So by the time you actually get to standard 8, actually Form 4, because English was compulsory in my time until Form 4.
Yes.
So by the time you get into Form 4, my friend, you can speak good English.
Yes.
Mimi sijaona mahali university unafunzwa English unless you have taken a course in literature or languages. Sindio?
Yes.
Now, when by the time unamaliza Form 4, by the time unamaliza not university but high school,
yes,
you can speak good English. It might not be perfect English, but you can speak good English.
Yeah. By the way, a Form 4 leaver right now, they can speak very good English.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm seeing. Have you not seen people speaking a lot of good English? Na mtu alifika tu Form 4 peke yake.
Hata kwa ma interviews ukiwatch za TV unaonanga tushosho tunaongea Kizungu poa sana.
Have you seen hata there is one preacher I know somewhere.
Yeah.
Alifika Form 4. But the guy speaks
very good English. Yes. Actually, me I never learned any more English after Form 4.
After Form 4, yeah.
So natumia saizi ni ya kutoka Form 4, my friend.
Yes, so I think and again one of the questions you would ask is places like China.
Yeah.
I saw the other day tukitaka sasa introduce issues to do with speaking Chinese, kusomea Chinese in our country.
Yes.
But them there, you will go to their country,
learn Chinese. Okay,
you have
Mandarin,
to learn
Mandarin, and they have other languages as well.
You have to learn their language for you to be able to communicate. Even when they are selling this stuff they are doing, because they are good at especially technology, such issues. When they are selling to us, ataongea lugha yake ni wewe sasa utafute vile
translate.
You will translate so that you may get whatever. So now in our country, sometimes when we are forcing some of these irrelevant subjects at different levels of education,
Right.
sometimes it doesn't make sense. You're wasting this person's time.
Yeah. But
Mfundishe vile anatengeneza kama ni hii mixer. Vile anaweza kutengeneza hii mixer.
okay, allow me to differ with you for a second, because the curriculums in all our universities and colleges and TVETs, they're in English.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Again, unless of course unafunzwa languages.
That's why tumesema hapa, he was saying it is not necessary for someone who is doing masonry
Yeah.
coming unaanza kumfundisha kizungu.
Yeah.
They already know English
Or
enough.
they already have the basics.
Yes, they already have the basics.
Sawa.
They can communicate. If it
Sawa.
is a job that this person is being given, they can communicate.
Right.
Materials zimeisha, they can communicate.
So my issue comes in because at the end of the day anyway, for you to kuambia huyu jamaa shikilia hama, you can teach them in both English and Swahili, haina shida. Hata ikibidi you can teach them, because at the end of the day it's
getting
technical
that skill.
It's a technical skill.
Yes, yes.
You need to hammer a nail.
Hata kama utamfundisha na lugha yake ya mama.
You don't hammer a nail in Kikamba or in English for that matter.
Yes.
Ati ngongongo, you will hammer a nail with a hammer, period.
Yes.
Whatever language you speak. So my only problem is when we've said we're doing now the competency based
Educational training. Yes.
It is okay. So if you want to get a mason, I feel like they still need some fundamental kinds of education which can only be found in primary education and secondary education. I know sometimes nasemanga ukiingia TVET unaingia pale watu ukiwa na D and other maybe probably lower grades, which is fine. But also you might realize or end up seeing that a student is lacking in a specific area of their education or of their upbringing, and that is why in the universities, for example, you have something called common units. Units such as communication skills.
Yes.
Right? That one you're taught whether you're doing medicine, whether you're doing biotechnology.
And that one is important.
Yes.
Yes.
So whether you're doing medicine or whatever, or you're even doing a communication degree, you will end up doing communication skills in your university.
That is important.
Exactly. Another area of another common unit you're taught, if I remember them well, you are taught HIV and AIDS. Because we are in an environment, we are in a society where that disease is very prevalent, and if you do not take care of yourself, because this is sometimes it's not things that you're taught in the home. Yeah, some of our parents are embarrassed of talking about matters to do with reproductive health, sexual health and all that. So ukifika university or colleges doing your diploma or whatever, there are some common units that I feel like you need to go through. So even in competency based education training, I just hope that fine, we want to get rid of all the luggage and the baggage, but let us not get rid of fundamentals. I hope as they transition from TVET to CBET, that is definitely going to be put into consideration.
That's important. But now, you see now the biggest question when we see all these changes and the reforms that we are trying,
yes.
we are implementing, or we are pushing for implementation. We are left with questions to ask. Sometimes, are we really sure of what we are doing, or is it a try and error with the education system? And sometimes you ask yourself, what can we do better?
Yeah.
What can we do better? And I think that is maybe the reason why we are having these reforms in the education system. I remember when they were doing what was it? Curriculum ya
844.
Tambo. Yes.
733.
733 tukakuja 844 right now tuko
saisi tuko CBC
26
hata sijui ni 26 what I don't know.
Yeah, it should be 263
33.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, 2 years for the pre-primary. 6 years in the primary. That is the lower primary. That is the
then
primary.
The junior secondary.
Then the junior of 3 years. Then the senior secondary of 3 years.
Then
and then the university of
which is 3.
3. Yeah.
That's unaona.
So now it is inside now that curriculum whereby most of these reforms are being put, because we started with the comprehensive primaries, now going to the tertiary.
Yes.
To the tertiary. That is where now we are putting the CBC, whereby competence is key.
Yeah. I mean, I like
issue here is the competence part of it.
I like the fact that we want to be competent because again we are living in a world that is moving very fast technology wise, and even just in the way we just people are handling and doing life. For example, we have a lot of issues to do with mental health situations. We need to include that in our curriculum because in the previous curriculum that wasn't there. In 844 and probably even the 733 haikuwepo. So saizi tukianza include issues to do with that, it's going to be good. What else are we grappling with right now? AI. Yes, children as young as even 3 years old are now interacting with AI. How? Because they have smart gadgets. So what are we going to do about it? These children, even as they get into PP1, PP2 and all that, they need to be in a position whereby they understand how to interact with this thing, the limits and the parameters of when to interact with it and when to not interact with it. So you see, a lot has changed. And also just in terms of even the job market, things are really moving fast. HR policies are changing literally overnight. People have introduced matters to do with sexual harassment in the office, things that were never there before. Because now people have become more aware of their rights. People have become more aware of what should be done to them and not done to them. People are more aware of toxic work spaces. That wasn't something that was recognized there before. Bosses or supervisors and managers used to mishandle and mistreat their juniors. So a lot has changed, and we need to incorporate that in our education system because the same people are going to transition into the job market. That I think, and that is the reason why the CS was pushing for issues to do with competence. And it's very important. It's very key, that competence. There is sometimes back, our children, you would find somebody has cleared even their form 4 and they cannot just cook an egg. Kuna mtu ako high school. Yes. Kuna watu walikuwa wanatoka wajui kupika mayai. Kwa kweli? Yes. There are so many people outside walikuwa namwambia because now the way they've been brought up, we are coming from different family setups. So napata kwenu wewe ni mtoto sana, like huyo mtoto asiruhusiwe kuingia jikoni. You get? So he grows up or she grows up without knowing what happens in the kitchen. Right. So this CBC kule shuleni, I've had parents complaining all over. Tunaitishwa mayai kila siku, tunaitishwa nyama, tunaitishwa kuku kila siku. Sometimes by the this is going to help you. It is all about getting those skills. It's all about helping your child. Most of the time nasikia tu anaitisha kuku. Ni vile tu walimu nao pia walikuwa me me growing up, yes, I used to do a lot of things with my parents. For example, my father is a very good cook. My dad, na yeye alifanya hizo zenye za kitambo. Is that before 844? Yes. How did he acquire that skill? Because he was just involved, and I think he was also involved by his parents. So when growing up, my parents also involved me, but in their system, in the kitchen, yes, doing laundry. Yes. Me by the time nilikuwa naingia form 1, because that's the first time I went to a boarding school, I did my own laundry. So by the time I was even getting into university and being independent, I was not waiting for a girlfriend to come and do my laundry. It's only that when nilianza kupata tu pesa hapa nikaanza kufeel ni kama I'm now rich, nilikuwa naita mama wa kufua na namlipa. Well, and that is the reason why I was telling you kuna watu wanafika mpaka form 4 because they found themselves, they just found themselves in a system whereby they are not allowed to experience these things. Especially there's a generation hapa katikati, the generation of your father, then they used to do these things. Remember those people used to do home science before home science was removed from the curriculum. Yes. They used to hata kujua kushona. Mimi nilishona cardigan. Yes, they used to know how kushona. They used to know how to cook. Walikuwa napewa hizo exercises to do. They used to do them practically. Right. Up to until I don't know when it was removed. That is where now, because people saw that hii haina maana, but kumbe that is what is important, because this person needs to gain those skills. Kuna watu wameenda mpaka university. Yes. So there's a friend of mine actually alikuwa university, and what he used to do was to wait for the roommate to come and cook. He can't cook ugali.
So you have to wait. Yeah, roommate kama yuko and him also goes away. Because he knows, yeah. So that's why we are saying competence.
Yes.
That competence, those skills are very key, and especially right now in the job market.
Yeah. I mean, yes. You know, sometimes if I get a tear on any of my garments, I don't need to now, start calling someone. Now nishone aje. Niende kwa neighbor niaje unajua kushona nguo. No, I even actually niko na uzi na sindano kwa nyumba. I just pick it up and I do the necessary. So
there's something that the CS was saying here, issues to do with the certificate. I'm looking at what he had said regarding the certificates, that we need to move away from the fact that the certificate, you feel the certificate is more than the skills that this person has, and especially in the job industry. So unapata kwamba people are so much concerned with what?
With getting the papers.
With getting the paper, and that is the same question I was asking you the other day.
Right.
When you are pushing these people to go and get the degrees, this one will just go and get the degree, the paper they will bring to you.
Yes.
But now there is now the skills. Ameenda tu kusoma lakini hajarudi na skills. You get.
Yeah.
So I would even prefer people go for the training.
Right.
Yeah, you do training while you're still at work. There are some skills you'll get better when you're,
and that is why we also have, that's why
this.
we have something called attachment, internship and all that, so that when you have been trained, now ingia kwa job market. Ujaribu hiyo kitu umekuwa ukisomea, ndio pia wewe mwenyewe ujigauge. There are actually people who I have seen intern in the media, and then they're like, where kazi hata siitaki, because they realize this wasn't for me, man. I don't feel it. History yote ya kuhandle sijui radio, being in front of a camera on TV,
what I subscribed to.
I don't feel like there are some people I went to meet. I told you I did biotechnology at Kenyatta University.
Yes.
There are individuals tulimaliza now. I'm actually a very good example. I am not even using that degree anywhere. There are other people that did the same degree as myself. They are now in the police force, the police service. They some of them are business people. They are into poultry farming and other kinds of farming. Others are into businesses. They have a fleet of vehicle where they do logistics and so on and so forth. And it's all because of that thing that we can boil down to. Number one, passion, and then number two, are you competent in your area of training? Are you competent in your area of study? And if you don't get that right, my friend, utakuja huku nje uumie. The only people I know wanasomanga mpaka mwisho na wanafanya hiyo kazi walisomea ni madaktari na lawyers. Hao ndio ninajua mtu alienda akasoma miaka 7. You cannot be miaka 7 working in a mortuary, because that's studying in a mortuary, because I believe that's what medicine is. Every day you're just there dissecting things, dissecting people, cadavers, and at the end of the day when you exit there, I cannot imagine having wasted 7 years. So a lot of people who I know did medicine, they have actually gone ahead to master areas of expertise such as gynecology, neurosurgery, and so on and so forth. Cardiology, I know a few oncologists here and there, which is a good thing. So competency, yes.
Competence is very important. And nowadays, by there I'm seeing also people, somebody has even qualified for a degree, but they opt to go to a TVET. Have you not seen that?
I have seen that.
Yeah. Somebody is qualified to go to the university, but because at the university ile course anaenda kupewa, because pia hizi courses they go with the combination of your points in the respective subjects. So now this person sits down and says, hii yenye napewa, I don't think I want it. So napata mtu anasema kwamba just take me to a TVET college.
Yes.
Now when they get from that place,
they get out of there, get into the job market, and do amazing stuff.
And
I've actually seen they become entrepreneurs. I've seen people who've gone, the example you've given, mtu amequalify kuingia university, lakini ile course ameitiwa hajaifeel. Na juu hataki kungangana akianza kuchange G course, and then you study for 4 years only to get out and go back to the TVET. Anasema tu I want to go to the TVET directly. And they get out of there with skills, and then they come out and they open businesses. I've seen actually people in construction. Mtu ameenda TVET, ame learn, masonry like you put it, or carpentry, and they get out of there and they open a huge business. Wewe ulienda shule miaka 4, sema ni kitu kibaya, sema ni vibaya.
Yes.
Lakini umeenda shule miaka 4, umetoka pale, unatama another 6 years. By the time una settle down, you've wasted 10 years. This guy went to a TVET, did 2 to 3 years, ametoka amefungua busy. Huo jamaa ile pesa ako nayo, because at the end of the day ni pesa tunataka. Tusidanganyane.
We are also looking at, the curriculum that we had most of the time, that used to look at the paper, used to look at the certificate that you're going to get after you complete your studies. So nowadays, if you're looking at the skill, I think it's going to solve the kulikuwa na hizi issues you're getting incompetent people. The reason is because maybe this person, hiyo kupata hiyo certificate, they concentrated on just getting the certificate.
Yes.
So sema tunataka a certificate. They just concentrated on getting the certificate. They never concentrated on getting the skills to do that work. You get. And maybe they never got the opportunity to do work. I have seen so many people, even in the in our industry. Unapata mtu yuko pale, alipita, kalipata hiyo certificate, but they are not competent enough even to
perform in the job market,
ama to perform in the job market. You see, then now you ask yourself, but why? What's the problem?
True.
You realize that people used to concentrate with the papers, and that is why tulikuwa tunaona a lot of exam cheating, especially katika primary school and form 4 sana hizo,
because kuna hiyo pressure ya kupita.
So the pressure was kupita,
was increasing,
kwenda kupata nini? Kwenda kupata certificate. Unlike right now, the pressure is skills. Nataka nikitoka hapa nikuwe najua kutengeneza simu. Nataka nikitoka hapa najua kutengeneza mitambo.
I was actually going through LinkedIn, the social media network where people, professionals get to meet. And I just went through some of the job applications, or rather the vacancies available for some of the big institutions that are looking to hire people. And one thing I saw in terms of requirements, number one, majority of the companies nowadays need you to have a master's degree, just like the government now wants civil servants to have a master's degree.
Yes.
And the other thing that I noticed that was there kwa wingi ni the skills. Yes, the skills way. Me, there are skills that I didn't even know exist. Kuna kampuni kitambo wa kuandike, my friend, utakuwa umesweat. Then there is the experience part, because of course experience enhances your skills.
Yes.
Because if you do something over and over,
of course,
practice makes perfect. It's just like talking on radio. Mimi ungenisikia the first time I ever got on radio, ungeuliza huyu jamaa anaenda wapi? Yeah, but because of doing radio over and over and speaking in a microphone and getting
and the passion,
of course the passion, and getting to interact with your colleagues, and of course getting more training from your superiors, at the end of the day you perfect that particular art and you're able to do it even in your sleep. So experience also is very important when it comes to this. So I don't know how they're going to do this whole CBET thing. I just hope it's not going to be another waste of our time, just like parents complain for a very long time about CBC, saying that kitu bana, it's becoming a burden.
It's becoming a burden.
Pesa mingi.
I think slowly, I think the issues was the infrastructure, the planning. The planning was what was the biggest problem. Like I remember parents were so much worried, like now after they finish here, that is, they finish the junior primary, where are they going up to until we first tried the grade 7. We tried that first cohort and we saw it worked. Right now, what has been the challenge right now is parents were worried, like now after grade 9, where are they going? You remember we were so much unsure of what is now going to happen later. And the other day, an allocation for the examination for the grade 9 pupils was given out. So now we know they will be sitting for their national exam. And then now from there was the issue of the streams. After here, manake tulikuwa tunasema now from grade 10 pupils will be allowed now to select the subjects and drop the rest. So now it has been clear,
broken down,
broken down, sure. It has been well broken down. You can tell there are students who will be doing the STEMs, there are others who will be doing the social subjects and so forth. So it is now clear, like your child after grade 9, they know what they will be. And of course, with the help of the parent, the help of everyone, we can make this work. Because me, I feel by the I'm for this CBE.
Kaende.
Yes, kaende
Aye.
CBE. I'm just for that.
Wacha tumsikize Winnie Maganga kidogo, tukunywe maji. We shall definitely be back.
It's 9:01.
Radio generation, the sound is fine. Pump it up, turn it high all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway.
Government of Kenya has issued an urgent security advisory to all its nationals residing in Israel and Iran due to intensifying hostilities between the two Middle Eastern nations. In a statement released on Wednesday by Principal Secretary for Diaspora Affairs, Roslyn Jogo, the government urged all Kenyan citizens in the conflict-affected areas to exercise extreme caution, minimizing movement and staying informed as the situation develops. The advisory comes amid mounting global concerns over the escalating military tensions between Israel and Iran, which have disrupted air travel, strained diplomatic relations, and triggered widespread security alerts. Police are ready for demonstrations planned for June 25th across the country. Nairobi Regional Police Commander Judge Seda says police will provide security for protesters and all other Kenyans. Seda warned against acts of violence during the planned demos called by opposition leaders.
For the 25th, we have got what we call enhanced plans for that. The letter which was delivered to Central, we are equally having that copy of the intents. What I would want to urge our publics, let's restrict ourselves to what we call peaceful demonstrations. Let's not have demonstrations which are going to interfere by other people who may be not part of the demonstrators. Remember, it will be a working day. We shall be having other people operating shops, hotels, and even other advantages.
Police also warned against attacking officers during the demos.
And this is what is making the situation now to become worse. They become reactive. Like even the other time last Thursday, you saw some going to rough up the officers who are armed, provocative. We are not there to be at war with you, the public. We are there just to provide safety. We are there, we shall provide enough and good security.
Opposition chiefs, including former DP Rigathi Gachagua and Wayua party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, have called on Kenyans to boycott work on June 25th. The leaders declared the day a symbolic public holiday in honor of Gen Z protesters who lost their lives during 2024's anti-government demonstrations. Tanzania has launched diplomatic talks with the United States following reports that its citizens could be affected by the new travel restrictions proposed under Donald Trump's administration. Government spokesperson and permanent secretary in the Ministry of Information, Culture, Arts and Sports, Gerson Msingwa, confirmed the move in a statement on Wednesday, June 18th. Msingwa said the government is prioritizing efforts to clarify and resolve immigration and consular issues. Media reports earlier this week revealed that Tanzania is among 36 countries that could be placed under new U.S. travel restrictions. Fans have been warned by the Premier League that matches could be moved at relatively short notice next season because of a number of teams playing in Europe. A record 9 top-flight clubs have qualified for the UEFA competitions in the 2025-26 campaign. The Premier League said there is an increased likelihood that games will be rescheduled if English teams reach the latter stage. It suggested fans take this into consideration when planning their attendance at games. Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea, Newcastle and Tottenham will be playing in the Champions League next season. That's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning. I'm Winnie Maganga.
In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generations, the people's breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The people's breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights, Radio Generation.
Welcome back. This is Radio Generation, 88.8 in Nairobi, 90.7 in Mombasa, 89.5 in Garissa, and of course rgk.co.ke everywhere else. So make sure everybody knows. Let your grandmother listen in, hata kama hasiki kizungu. At the end of the day, she's going to enjoy some cool music later on. But right now, this is the People's Breakfast, and we are definitely the home of hard truths and bold insights. My name is Mungala Mbuvi.
My name is Triciah Wayua. You can also call me Patricia Wayua. All of them are my names, by the way. And if you want to follow us on our social media pages, please do at Radio Generation Kenya. That is on Facebook, Instagram, X, and even on YouTube. There, you will follow the conversations that we are doing here. Remember, we are doing doing real talks here. Yes, and of course, your views, your reviews, your opinions are so much welcome.
All right, good stuff.
Yes.
First of all, what's in your cup today?
Of course, I got some tea with me here.
Right.
Yeah, I got some tea with me here. You know, I've been remembered.
Right.
Yes, they have remembered me.
Well, mine as well. Nimesahau kuweka. Yeah, but a very big shout out to the Radio Generation family. Wamesema tuachange kukaukiwa mdomo hapa tukiongea kwenye, lakini hatukaukiangi sana. Tunakaukianga sana. Tuko tu sawa.
No, it is important. It is important we have this.
Yes.
So important we have this, because I also believe you at home there, there's something you've taken in the morning for breakfast, and of course, some of you take tea even at 10.
Right.
There is also who take tea at night before they sleep. So it is important.
All right.
Yes.
So we can give a few shout outs before we get into the conversation around Hustler Fund, because it's something that we need to discuss and look at critically. So let me see. Kuna mahali nilikuwa nimepata watu wa kusalimia alafu wakapotea tena. Let me see where that post was as I give a big shout out. But as I start off, I know there's a guy listening to us called Edwin, listening all the way from China. Jamaa anasema anatusikiza on rgk.co.ke na amesema anatumia VPN because in that country, unless there's a VPN, kidogo things are gonna get crazy. You might not get the rest of the internet that the world is using. Anyway, a big shout out to Chichams listening all the way from Mombasa. How are you doing? There's Juguna Caroline amesema abaria asubuhi. Then there is Lynn Kendi. Lynn Kendi is actually an artist. She's tuned in. Thank you so much. Soni Mwangi, habari yako. Shiro Ngina, a very good morning to you. Njeri Gadhuku, habari asubuhi. Maria Wambui, hello. Aria Teyie, I hope I'm saying it correctly. Good morning to you. Damaris, best lady, mambo. And then last but not least, we have Ruth Ndiga. Good morning to you and welcome to Radio Generation. This is the People's Breakfast.
Well, for those of you also are following us on X, on the X platform, a big shout out to you guys. Thank you for following this conversation. Continue retreating, by the way. The conversations that we are holding here, it's so important. And you had talked of the Hustler Fund. And I'm going to do I'm going to give you a breakdown of this Hustler Fund, how it started, the background of Hustler Fund. And this is what I have here, that the Hustler Fund launched in 2022.
Right.
Its aim was to provide financial support to small-scale entrepreneurs and low-income Kenyans. And they started by disbursing over 65.7 billion. I mean, so far, that is from the start to date, they have disbursed 65.7 billion to date. However, we have seen by the way in recent developments that we highlighted challenges that are facing the Hustler Fund. And it's important that we look at them. And the major issues, actually, first of all, it was the amounts, funds that have not been accounted for. You remember, they were requesting for more budget. But now, the issue of unaccounted funds in terms of bad loans. People did not pay back the monies that they borrowed. And of course, there's also, we can also say of maybe transparency and potential misuse of such funds. Because we would not say this all amount of money we are talking about, which is 8 billion, that it is purely on defaulted loans alone.
8 billion. Actually, at one point I thought it was 6. Imeshafika 8.
It's 8 billion.
Yeah.
Yes, that is for the year 2022-2023. 8 billion is unaccounted for. And the other challenge that is facing this Hustler Fund is the issue of high default rates. Watu ambao hawalipi madeni.
But mi ninakwambia hivi for free. When that Hustler Fund thing started, I remember a couple of people that I met.
Yes.
Walisema hiyo pesa ni yao, wataikopa na hawatailipa. Like they were very intentional about it. Hatulipi. It's not that kuna 500 nilichukua hapa na nimeshindwa kulipa, hapana. Hatulipi. But someone else, a political pundit, came out and said that this could also be a situation whereby it was a well orchestrated plan by insiders in the Hustler Fund setup to make sure that they put up the fund, borrow the monies, and then just disappear with it. So we cannot also ignore that part.
That part, and of course there's also the risk of maybe funds also being misappropriated.
Yes.
The misuse, also people taking advantage. But now the key issue here, why do you want to borrow money and fail to return that money?
Because
why do you want to kill this fund?
Sababu tu kuna watu wanakuanga na tabia mbaya, my friend.
Imagine one thing. Someday I was so much surprised by a friend of mine. They borrowed 500 shillings. Imagine ya kwenda kupiga hela
from the Hustler Fund.
Yes, ya kwenda tu kukula
kujienjoy kule nje.
Yes, kujienjoy tu. By the way, you people, do you know what is the meaning of a loan?
Let me tell you. Of course, people understand the meaning of a loan. And sometimes that is what women do to men, but that's a story for another day on a different show. I'll actually give that conversation to the drive show hosts, who by the way will be going live on airs from Monday. But the thing here is, kuna watu ambao, and that's why I say sometimes it's just an endemic problem in Kenya. And we need to change attitudes. And I said also we need to do something called civic education. Ndio watu wajue. If you're going to take a loan from a government institution, my friend, you're taking a loan from your fellow Kenyans. Now the government has to look for that 8 billion somehow.
And in another word,
and that 8 billion is going to come from you and
me. First of all, you just need to tell them the truth. When you are taking money, like that is the Hustler Fund, and you say that you're going to misuse it, I don't know why would somebody just take and say hii pesa naitumia, acha nichukue tu hii pesa niende nikule. Imagine that is your money. Because somehow you're going to pay it. Hiyo ni pesa yako, so it's like you have misused your funds.
So maybe exactly, and maybe they need to do it the way the telcos do it. For example, Safaricom, if you've taken a Fuliza loan, the next time you put money into your M-Pesa, inamezwa. That is how they maintain, because it's a business at the end of the day. And it has got to run. So if it is water tuchukue Fuliza na tukatae kulipa, I mean, Safaricom itafungwa. All right? Now, the government needs to find out how it can also apply similar tactics. By the time you're giving me a loan on Hustler Fund, you must have evaluated me and said Mungala has got a limit of say 500 shillings, and he's able to pay that 500 shillings because we have evaluated his mobile money transactions. We have seen because we have access to his bank accounts, we can tell that Mungala haezi kosa 500. Hii pesa ratulipa. All right. So number one, msipatie tu mtu mwenye amefungua line jana na akaanza kukopa pesa. I know we want to help Kenyans, but also help Kenyans help themselves. Because this is a bad culture. Kuna watu wamechukua loans also from mobile apps and they just don't pay. Money, digital lenders, sorry. And they are not paying this money. There are Kenyans who borrow money from even their relatives and friends and they just don't pay.
So
mimi nikikutolea list ya watu wako na madeni zangu.
Huko unakuja sasa kwanza kusema madeni yako hapa.
Sitakuja
kwa wenye wanadaiwa na Mbuvi wamulipe madeni zake. And as you pay that, also remember to pay the Hustler Fund, because this fund by the way kuna watu pia wamesaidika nayo. I guess you know. Kuna watu wamesaidika nayo because kuna watu ambao limits zao they used to borrow. use the fund,
and then pay back.
they pay back. So their limit used to increase.
It is increasing.
Yes.
I actually, do you know, I don't know if you've ever been in a position whereby you were expecting some money and you were to use that money maybe for transport or to buy food for your family.
Yes.
Na hiyo pesa inakataa kukuja. So that's when you turn to a lending app like Hustler Fund. And what do? You borrow that money. So you can imagine this system is supposed to help such kinds of people. Then wewe mwenye hata huko anahaja na hiyo pesa umechukua umekataa nayo. You know, you're actually denying another Kenyan an opportunity to be alive. And in countries like China, by the economic crimes, huko unanyongwa. Places like Korea, economic crimes, my friend, huko unanyongwa. Because stealing from the public is tantamount to killing them. Yeah. It's as equal as murder.
There's murder.
You've stolen money meant for security. Haven't you killed people? You've stolen money for hospitals to buy dialysis machines. Haven't you killed patients?
You have.
Yeah. Kuna places economic crimes, they are as serious as murder. And the punishment is capital.
But let us get back to maybe how this fund was initiated and maybe what was the plan?
Yeah.
What was the plan? What was the initial plan of the Hustler Fund?
The plan was, of course, to help Kenyans, access funds easily. Yeah. So, for example, if you just do a quick Google search of Hustler Fund,
yes,
you will see. They've given you the contact information there. They're talking about a personal loan. Apparently, you can get a bridge loan product. Yes. I don't know what bridge means. Let's actually just open this and see what a bridge loan is.
Bridge is
you can also do savings on Hustler Fund. Did you know that?
I know.
You can unaweka pesa uko tu zinazaana then siku moja una withdraw. So kama unasemanga hawana bank account, Hustler Fund is here for you. So this is a bridge loan, and this is what it says. The Hustler Fund Bridge Loan is an exclusive loan product designed for borrowers who have demonstrated excellent repayment behavior. It rewards responsible borrowers with higher loan limits, low interest rates, and a pathway to formal financial credit systems. Isn't that awesome?
It is.
Isn't that awesome?
Okay, it is.
If only it works. I hope it works.
If only it works. And that's what we were saying about the reasons as to why we had that Hustler Fund. It was like to improve the economic release of people, standing of most of Kenyans. Watu waanze, unajua kwanza inaitwa Hustler Fund.
Yes.
Ilikuwa ni for hustlers to start somewhere.
Mahasura. Walikuwa mahasura.
Hustler aanzie mahali.
So,
hustler aanzie mahali. But now the people who are taking this Hustler Fund, others were not even hustlers, by the way.
So hapa kuna FAQ moja, frequently asked questions. Who qualifies for the bridge loan? The bridge loan is not for everyone. It is reserved for top-rated borrowers in the Hustler Fund credit rating system. This includes Category A borrowers. These are exceptional borrowers, those with a strong history of repaying loans on time. And then kuna Category B borrowers. These are just the good borrowers, those who are responsible but still building their credit. Now, your credit score determines your eligibility and loan limit, and if you borrow and repay on time, your score improves, allowing you to qualify for the bridging loan and access higher amounts. In the United States of America, there's something called a credit score. I don't know if you've heard about it. A credit score is where they come and they score you. Yeah, they tell if you are a good borrower, and they will never ask you for collateral. So if you walk into a bank today, assuming in the United States of America,
yes,
they won't need that your title deed so that they can give you a loan of say 10 million.
10 million.
No. They'll just open your credit score, which is publicly available rather, and they look at Triciah Wayua, so that they can tell Patricia, number one, has been borrowing money and she's been repaying. So she is able to pay the loan of 10 million. And then, of course, you provide other documentation such as your pay slip, or if you're a business person, provide your bank accounts, and then they look at them and they say, okay, all right. Turnover yake per year kwa mfano ni 20 million. Huyu tunaweza mpatia loan. Every month ana making a profit ya about $500,000. So we can make her pay this loan in 2 years, and she will pay ASAP. Huko kunaga collateral, Collateral maybe sasa uende kwa Shylock. Yes.
But people are disciplined, are financially disciplined.
But that is the culture we want to instill
and that
here.
is the culture that we need even in our country.
Yeah.
We are like financial discipline.
Yes.
Like, first of all, when you want to borrow that loan, why do you want to borrow it? Once you've borrowed that money,
Yeah.
do you have the discipline enough to put it in the right use?
Yeah.
Like, you had borrowed this money to start a business. Are you going to put it into that business? Then after that, are you going to pay back
Yeah.
this money? Because first of all, discipline tumesema lazima ikuwe. Financial discipline is a must.
I have a confession.
Yes.
The first time I took a loan, do you know what I did?
Nilienda
kurudishia mwili asanti.
Ona sasa.
Ona sasa. Yes. However, the money eventually did what it was supposed to do. But unajua that was the first time my account saw a lot of money. Yeah, I don't want to tell you how much it was.
So you borrow money first of all, unaenda kushukuru mwili kama
burudani. Nilichapa burudani kwanza.
Mwili kama umefanya kazi gani?
Like I said,
first of all, use that money to do the reason. I mean, use it for the purpose it was meant for.
And I agree. Of course, after that, I have taken more loans and I've been
so now you have been more
responsible with them.
Okay.
But even that first one, which I repaid, I have a very good track record. And by the way, you're always told for you to have a good credit score. Sorry about that. For you to have a good credit score, you need to borrow money. If you've never had a loan, my friend, you do not have a credit score. Actually, if you've never borrowed a loan, your credit score is zero.
It's zero. We do not know if
what
today
kind of person you are.
If today we entrusted you with this amount of money, whether you will return it
ama utakula yote
ama pesa itakushtua ukimbie
kama vinye linishtua
kama vile
wewe umeangalia hivi bank account yako unaona zero, so many zeros. You've seen so many zeros mpaka you asking we.
So now hiyo siku wewe ndio ulikuwa kusema
mimi ndio nilikuwa
kusema kule. But anyway, a key point, we Kenyans, some of these funds, you know, we make them collapse because of maybe our behaviors, and some other times it is just intentionally.
True.
Intentional. Well, like I feel this one actually, like those people who are saying that mi nitakopa na sitalipa, that was intentional. Yeah, that was intentional. You just want to you just want to try, you want to see. People say this is government money. Government money,
it's our money.
It's our money. But remember, just look at what has happened now. They have come back again to ask for more allocation. Because we have over 8 billion that cannot be accounted for. That once you trace it back, you find it in defaulted loans.
Right.
You also find it in issues to do with misuse.
But I also heard somewhere that some people registered SIM cards with ID numbers of people who had already passed away.
Yes, that's what we
withdrew all those monies and then just discarded the SIM cards. Sasa mtu amechukua hustler fund na mtu mwenye alikufa 2002. Sasa mtafanya aje Wayua? Amtajua tuseme ni mimi nimechukua hiyo pesa, mtajuaje ni mimi?
Well, what is coming out is now a poor planning.
Yes,
that is poor planning. Don't just come up with an idea and just rush to do it without looking at, okay, how feasible is this plan? How feasible is this idea? Like, if you're going to start this fund, this is how we are going to roll it in terms of launching to launch sawa. This is the amount of money that you're going to start with.
But you know,
and now the people, whoever is borrowing now, this is now the procedure. If you're borrowing this and this and this and this, that is what we want. If so, the question is, we should ask ourselves, if this person does not pay that money, how are we going? Yes, how are we going to recover that money? And so I think that is one of the questions that the committee did not ask.
You see, one of the things that also we just need to do as a country is just tighten our systems. For instance, why is the ID of someone who died in 1999
still working right now?
Yes. Why doesn't the system recognize that this person is dead? All right, the same question people have been asking about voter registration. People who died kitambo sana apparently are voting.
Yeah,
you understand?
Yeah.
So just we have a systemic problem, and that is why institutions and products such as the Hustler Fund are suffering. We have people who died a long time ago still buying land today.
Yes.
Yeah,
we have such people still receiving salaries.
Exactly, ghost workers. That
yes, they are ghost workers. They are receiving salaries. Yes. You see, somebody died in 2010.
Yeah, na anapata salary. Mwezi huu kwanza atapata salary.
Hata na marupurupu.
People who left the country. Mtu amemigrate ameenda Russia. Huyo jamaa bado anafanya anapokea services na anafanya vitu. Okay, I mean not that people in the diaspora shouldn't receive services, but there are certain services you can only receive when you're in the country. You understand? So we need to have those checks and balances. So that we can tell Wayua is currently not in Nairobi. She's not in Kenya. Wayua is in where? Britain. So Wayua cannot be transacting certain businesses apparently physically. It is because we do not have a system that says Wayua is in Britain. Yeah. So that needs to be checked. Why would someone who died a month ago still be accessing the Hustler Fund? That is something that needs to be wrapped up immediately from the point of death at the hospital, or when they were found dead, even if they were found in a thicket somewhere.
We know this is so and so.
The moment we have registered, the moment that death has been registered like this by the police, iingie kwa system zote. Na tujue ya kwamba huyu mtu hayupo, and we cut them off from voting, we cut them off from Hustler Fund, we cut them off from all those other places where there is a lot of corruption and loopholes that need to be sealed.
Well, I think most of the time we say that the government services, most of them now they are digitized, and we are expecting, and especially kama we want to solve such kind of a problem, this will start from the grassroots.
True.
You are coming, a death has occurred in a certain village. In that village there is a chief, right?
Yes.
In that village kwanza kuna mzee wa nyumba 10. Yes.
Hapo.
Tuanzie kwa mzee wa nyumba 10. Tumeenda kwa sub chief. Tumeenda kwa chief. Tukitoka kwa chief tunaenda kwa
DC, Deputy County Commissioner.
Yeah, we have all those systems. Why is it that maybe somebody would have died today?
Yes.
Na hiyo kitu haijaripotiwa. Those are some of the roles I think people should be playing, and this once it's put in the system, then we can be getting the correct data that now the government needs to integrate in its different ministries.
Yes.
They need to integrate all this information so that it can be used in those ministries, it can be used in different areas to ensure that we are
update. Before we do that, can I give a big shout out to some of our people, who are listening online, and especially on rgk.co.ke. In case you're wondering where that is, we are online. You can, if you're not catching us, rather on the airwaves, that is on 88.8 in Nairobi, or 90.7 in Mombasa, or 92.1 in Lamu, 89.5 in Garissa. Please, anywhere that there is an and sometimes I feel that's even more convenient, internet connection. By the kama uko kwa ofisi yenye mko na speakers ama umekuja na bluetooth speaker yako, tafadhali, why don't you tune in and let us know where you're tuning in from? Sindio? Haya, Lynn Karaoke, good morning. Susan Mutuko, a very good morning to you. Glory Gaki, habari yako. Jacqueline Peterson, Rachel Atieno, Nyarawila, Kate Carol, Caroline Wanjiko, Irene Gardner, Vicky Mambo, Rin Willie, and Obath Pamela. Very, very good morning to you.
Yeah, someone here, Mama Miles, my friend all the way from Mombasa, she's tuned in, anasema kwamba thank you so much for this show. Tuko na mmoja anaitwa Kelvin Waweru, I can see you. You're saying you're listening to the show. Thank you so much. Anasema kwamba mimi nimenyimwa hata hiyo Hustler Fund.
Kwani una credit score?
Ndio hapo sasa, kama hujawahi kukopa hauna that credit, but mbona sisi wote tulianza kukopa?
Na kwanza wenye wananunua new SIM cards to register those things. Kweni careful. Anyway,
huyu amezungumzia mambo na Hustler Fund, anasema mimi sipewi. Well, you can check your degree well. You see why you are not getting that loan. Then there is Mungala Francis. Anasema all the way from Kasarani, I'm tuned in. Thank you so much for the show.
Traffic.
All right, looking at Nairobi CBD, watu wanakaa ni kama wamerudi back to business because I can see a little bit of traffic in the CBD. Moi Avenue hapo hivyo naona kameshikana, a little bit of Harambe Avenue as well kameshikana. But on the main highways, we're talking about Mombasa Road, everything is opened up right now, literally looking good. However, there's a red line here. Where is this? Capital Center. This is coming from town. Where is this particular traffic? This one is if you're approaching from Haile Selassie, a little bit of red there, so that means vitu zimeshikana kidogo lakini vitu ziko sawa sawa. Muhoho Drive, Muturi Lane, everything is looking fantastico. As you're driving into Westlands, nothing to report there in terms of traffic. Langata Road is looking good. Lusaka Road also looking good. Tunaingia Bunyala Road, mnasema hakuna shida huko. Haile Selassie roundabout, a little bit of traffic at the roundabout, but the rest of the road is looking okay.
All things are clear in Mombasa. By the way, Mombasa town, tunasema kwamba pale lights kwa sasa hivi vitu ziko sawa kabisa.
I don't actually expect to see traffic at this time of the day unless
in
it's
most
a major
places.
incident.
No, but you know, I told you between Bombolulu, VOK,
yes,
lights, hiyo place hukuwa tu na traffic. But saizi naambiwa kwamba vitu ziko tu a bit fair, kila kitu iko sawa. Kule ferry pia kila kitu iko sawa. Ndongo Kulu, barabara naambiwa iko shwari kabisa. Ile by the way it's so fine.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you have ever been in South Coast.
Yes, of course.
Which route did you use?
Do I know the routes really in Mombasa? Mimi as long as nimeshafikishwa huko.
Au kutumia hiyo barabara.
Hapana, wakati huo uko
most of the time they are using most of the users actually are those of them coming from South Coast and those of them that are,
just to be clear, Diani is South
from
Coast.
The SGR. Yes,
Diani is South Coast.
Yes.
Okay, sawa. So clearly I've been to South Coast a couple of times, but not used that road. But now that it was open, by the time ilikuwa inafunguliwa sikuwa nimeitumia. I'm definitely going to use it.
Oh, you use the flights?
Yep.
You use the flights?
Mimi ni mtu wa ndege.
Soon we'll be giving the traffic updates by the flights.
Yeah, definitely.
Soon.
Just letting you know which flights, by the way, are available for you in case you want to travel all over this country and beyond. There's someone I want us to talk about in this last half hour of the show. And it is something that we have seen happening a lot in what is it called, entertainment spheres. It affected one P. Diddy, or rather Sean Combs. Do you know of this guy called Tyler Perry?
Yes.
You've seen his movies, yeah?
Yeah.
Kwanza kuna moja yake ina nini saizi ina trend, Straw. It is trending on Netflix.
Yes.
I don't know if you've watched it. It's quite an interesting movie.
Yeah.
So anyway, Tyler Perry has been accused of sexual assault in an act, and he has been sued for $260 million. And I want to tie it to something that happens in the entertainment scene here in Kenya. First of all, Tyler Perry, a very respected person as far as Hollywood is concerned, that is in the United States of America. And he has made a name for himself because he has produced numerous movies and numerous TV shows.
Yes.
Yeah. So yesterday a story broke about him. You can actually even check it on rgk.co.ke on our entertainment scene. You'll definitely get to read exactly why this particular individual was put in this particular situation. Now, the actor who accused him of sexual harassment is actually one of the actors that he has produced a movie for. A guy called, I think he's called Axel. Yeah, I'll look for that story real fast and then we'll talk about it properly. Yeah. So anyway, Tyler Perry, in his defense, he has said he's not even aware of what this actor is saying. Yeah, if you've watched the series called The Oval,
yes,
that particular guy has acted in the series called The Oval. I want to bring it back to Kenya. Do you know how difficult it is for female, number one, artists,
yes,
musicians, to just get into the scene? How many female musicians do you know that are currently active?
Well, I know several of them.
In the entire Kenyan scene.
I know several of them, but of course you cannot compare them with the male artists.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't compare them, yes.
I'll give you a few names. We have Femi One. Femi One is a rapper. Sindio?
Yes.
We have Avril Nyambura,
yes,
who for a while now has not been singing. We have Wahoo, Bibi Nameless.
Yes.
We have Size 8, who is now a pastor.
Yes.
We can go on and on. But the ones who are active, like they're literally active, like, you know, every other month utakosa ametoa mziki.
There are not so many.
There are very few.
Yes.
So I once had a conversation with a music producer, jamaa anajulikana kama Benali. Benali told me the reason why we do not have female musicians in Kenya right now being active is because of sexual harassment. Some of them, even if they're able to pay for their sessions, for the record, all right, and some of them give in only for them to realize that they have been given a raw deal. So you give in to the advances of this producer, and at the end of the day, you still don't get your music.
You still
out
not
there.
get what you want.
Yeah.
Well, personally, I've been in that industry for some time.
Yes.
And I've interacted with so many artists. I've interacted with producers of movies, producers of music, and so forth, producers of these creatives. And I will tell you for a fact, there are so many factors, of course, that affect a female artist. There's the issue of family. Most of the time, if you are an artist, a female artist, of course, there are some things you'll never run away from.
Yes.
You are a wife. Apart from you being a musician, pengine you are somebody's wife.
Or even
you are somebody's mother.
Yeah.
So there are some other responsibilities that would maybe would make you not look like what the other male artists are doing, right? Secondly, there's that issue of sexual harassment, which we know really happens most of the time. And actually, you need to understand that this is now not for the male, for the female alone.
Even on
male artists nowadays are also getting themselves into this.
For example, the person who's accusing Tyler Perry is actually called Derek Dixon.
Yes. Male artists also nowadays are getting themselves in this fix. And you realize that you come to a producer, you have paid. For example, you have
for
paid
studio time.
Yes, for studio time. And every time you're coming in, every day, this producer has issues. Then you're like, you call them down and you tell them, okay, what is not happening? I have paid you. Kila time atakupatia excuse.
Yes.
Oh, leo niko hivi. Inabidi wakati ukimkalisha chini anakuambia, you know, do the necessary.
Yes.
You know
what needs to be done.
Yeah, you know what needs to be
for
done.
For your music to
now,
go out there.
Apart from now the production, now there's the pushing, because we usually say that actually 70% of artist work is not the studio.
Yes.
70% is now pushing your work.
Yeah.
So pushing this
getting
work now, getting it work out there and work. You know, you can get it out there and it doesn't work for you.
True.
So making sure that you get it outside there and it works for you, some of these times you are forced to compromise. Kuna wengi sana wame compromise. Sana. And this really has really affected also the music industry, as we are saying. And that is the reason why we are not seeing so many female, because initially it is the female artists. Ndio sana wamekuwa katika huo mtego. Unlike now the male, but nowadays even the male wanaingia pale. We have seen the issue of P. Diddy. We've seen what he was being associated with, the artists that he has been accused of. We even saw minors.
Yes.
Yeah. He did them when they were minors. We have seen all this stuff, and it's really not good.
It's not
good. It is not even in our communities, in our cultures. This one is just not acceptable. Then again, now pushing that music, I told you, the pushing of your music, pushing of your art. Pia unaenda unapata pia in other places, the people, the media, the people you are using to push your work.
Yes.
Others also
pia wanna make their demands.
Yes, they have demands. Mtu anakuja anakuambia Mbuvi, niko na mziki hapa, naomba unichezee.
Yes.
And that is now when you say fine. Fine. You take advantage maybe of a young girl. You've taken advantage. And that is not right. So
there's a time a Kenyan DJ, I'm not going to mention their name, but a Kenyan DJ was accused by some female musicians. He was demanding for sexual favors, so that he can play their music. And that for me, when that story came out, I was like, it's not possible, because the said DJ was actually a gospel DJ. And I asked myself, and I asked myself, what? There's someone we watch on TV every single Sunday morning. When we go for events, keshas nini yako pale, and I lead praise and worship through the music.
Yes.
And I was utterly shocked. And I was like, I thought these things happen in movies, bana. They don't happen in real life.
These things have been happening.
Yeah.
And most of the time, the promoters, the producers, all of these people involved in that industry, we have come to realize a lot of evil has been happening, by the way.
Yes.
A lot of evil in the entertainment industry
has been happening. Kuna huyu madam anajulikana kama Wangeshi. She's a Kenyan rapper. And through her ex account, a couple of weeks ago, it was about a month ago, she says that she will one day expose the Kenyan P. Diddy. We all know what is happening in the United States as far as P. Diddy is concerned.
What?
Akasema hapa Kenya kuna jamaa producer ana gatekeep industry. Na lazima you yield to his demands. So ndio amesema Kenya Diddy hajui kama ni mwanamke ama ni mwanaume, but I mean it's safe to assume it's a man, but
yes,
I could be wrong. This particular individual is a gatekeeper, and there are certain things
of the industry. Yeah,
certain things you need to do to this person or for this person for you to gain access to the industry, because apparently that is what P. Diddy did.
Yes,
through the court case. For you to, and we've seen musicians who have come out to say that they are victims of this guy, and I'm like, what? Yeah?
So she's saying one day she gonna expose the Kenyan P. Diddy.
Yeah, and she says that one day, especially artists, will find the courage to speak out against the producer she is refusing to name. And she has been under a lot of pressure lately. People are telling her, speak up, sema saizi tukaange tukijua.
Okay.
Ama pia na threaten huyu jamaa ndiye amuone kando.
Yeah, a lot really happens, especially
this be blackmail.
Ingine pia okay, others pia wanga ni blackmail, but kuna some other times.
Yes.
Because when you look at now the issue to do with P. Diddy.
Yeah.
It is something people have been ignoring. People have been hearing rumors. We bana huyo. We bana huyo.
Yeah.
So people have been hearing, but people have been ignoring. Yes. And I'm so sure maybe in one time pengine shawe kufikia hata watu ambao wako katika leadership, but then now people ignore.
I once interviewed a female gospel artist, and she told me that she once went to she was upcoming in the industry, and she got contact of this particular producer, an amazing producer, jamaa kona jina kubwa katika industry. Na akamwambia njoo tufanye nini, njoo tufanye mziki, njoo kwangu wakati fulani ilikuanga jioni. So because this guy was saying I'm very busy, it will be difficult to find me, so the only time you can get me, because I'm in meetings, I have studio sessions, and I'm having studio sessions with the big artists, so I can't allow you to come to the studio. The only place you can see me is when I'm done with the work. Come to my apartment.
Yes.
Na akampatia directions. Na huyu dema kufikiria chochote kinaweza fanyika kibaya, because this is a producer, a very respected producer. Yes. And he is a gospel producer, so you don't expect anything bad to happen. So yeye akasema Fuchs, nimepata contact, nimepata ile appointment nimekuwa nikitafuta. Dema akashukuru Mungu, akamwambia Mungu, nao naona barabara zitafunguka. Anasema alifika kwa ile nyumba ya ule gospel producer.
Yes.
The first thing that happened is the door was locked. Second thing that happened, they did not even start talking about her music or anything. The guy just went straight ahead, just to talk to her, getting to know her. Atia niambie atunaitwa nani, kwenye ni wapi, are you dating? But this lady was like, this is so unprofessional. I came here to talk about music. Yes. Nimekuja na muziki, hata iko hapa kwa simu, hebu sikiza kidogo. So in a long story short, this gentleman offered her even alcohol, to get her, drunk, na pia aingia into a certain mood that was going to be very unprofessional and compromising, of course. Yes. So females are going through a lot of problems in this industry. I know even of models. I have been a witness of a very prominent person in this Kenya. A prominent, do I use producer? Prominent producer in this, let me call, I'm using the word producer because if I use the other thing mtajua ni nani. Prominent producer alikuwa anasema atafanya alikuwa anachukua models, anaandika poster, anaweka Facebook, anasema we need these kinds of models tomorrow.
Yes.
I want ladies who are tall, you know, this kind of body structure,
yes,
complexion inakaa hivi. And the next day ungeona watu wamejazana pale kwa ofisi yake.
Yes.
They do auditions, but it was not auditions. Those were bedroom auditions. He was getting their contact numbers.
Yes.
Alafu baadaye anawapigia simu one by one.
One by one.
Wayua habari yako. Actually, you know, we were auditioning for this particular lotion. Na ni kama hii kampuni ya lotion imekutaka wewe. Where are you right now? Do you know what time is calling you? Midnight past. Where are you right now? We need to get this contract locked down. And a lot of girls unfortunately fall for this particular
for that trap.
And
it's so unfortunate.
And they end up getting used. So you need to be very careful if you're going to be in this art industry. And we need laws and regulations that actually are going to help artists in Kenya, you know, start earning good money from their industry. We know even this short codes where people send and their music inasambazwa kila mahali and they're not being paid. We are seeing every day people fighting MCSK. Yeah, hopefully one of these fine days we shall get Dr. Ezekiel Mutua.
Sure, he will be coming
to come to studio so we can just talk about the music industry and the issues that Wangeshi is raising here.
A lot really is happening, and we really need to get people who are getting who can fight for these talents, because we as we all know, by the way, the Kenyan youth, a very big population have gotten into use of their talent.
And we are very talented.
Yes, big population of the Kenyan youth. You find atakuwa pengine anafanya a different hustle, lakini still they are doing
talanta bado inatumika.
Still they are rapping,
they are painting,
they are painting. These are some of the things they use. So Kenyans youth, wengi, a big population. I will be getting the percentage by the way, so that we can see, but I know so many youths are in the creative industry, and the creative industry can really pay. All we need right now is good policies.
You know,
those
what
people
I like?
put in those leaders we've put in place, in the entertainment industry, those people we have put there.
True.
Put people who understand. And I would say, because the Ministry of, I think the Ministry of, is it Entertainment, Arts and it's
Culture.
combined, and it's combined.
Yes.
I think
Ministry of Heritage, something.
it is really combined. I wish it could be broken down.
Ministry of Music.
Yeah, I wish it could be not music per se, but I wish that ministry could have been broken down.
Yes.
Because there is a lot. I feel like just one minister is not able to sort all this out.
Yeah, true. And also the departments that are headed by the various officers who are holding these particular positions. For instance, we have seen a lot of people complaining about Kekobo. Kekobo is a government entity.
Yes.
MCSK and many others. Why are we having these squabbles? KFCB, Kenya Film and
a classification board.
Yes, exactly. You know, why for example is the Kenyan film industry not as advanced as it should be 60 years after independence? I like what happens in the United States of America when you join a label. A label is like Bad Boy Records, or here in Kenya we have Ogopa DJs.
Yes,
we have Caliph Records, and the very many ones that are in existence right now in the United States of America, and also in places like the United Kingdom. If you sign to a record label, my friend, you start earning a salary from the day you sign that contract. They don't tell you ati sasa tumefanya muziki, sasa wacha tu distribute huko alafu tuone pesa ikiingia tutakwambia hapana. You are given a lump sum money up front.
Because of course there is a fund somewhere.
Because those Ogopa DJs of the US will they already have funds and they're making money. So they'll tell you why you sing. Njoo hapa. We are giving you a salary
of this much,
of 100 million.
Yes.
This year. Okay, and in your contract for that music label is that you need to produce at the very least 7 songs by the end of 12 months.
Yes,
you need to have done 2 tours, one locally, another one internationally. All right.
Yes.
So kuna contract ni imeandikwa vizuri sana. So you can, and that is why in the States, yani musicians die to be in a record label.
Yes, yes.
When you see competitions such as America's Got Talent or American Pop
people
Idol.
take them serious.
Yeah, people take them serious. Why? Because my friend, the moment umeenda pale ukaimba mbele ya Asha akakuingisha kwa record label yake, my friend, umeomoka. You and your family and your dogs will never have to work an entire day, an extra day in your entire lives. You get? And that is what we want to happen here in Kenya. Why do we have record labels that have just disappeared into oblivion? For example, Ogopa DJs walienda wapi? Caliph Records ilienda wapi? And yet they were at the prime 20 years ago. Kwani what happened to those particular labels? Why didn't the government help them get to where they are? And then also the artists. We were talking about artists such as Qtasi aliendanga wapi, by the way? Qtasi, kama unatusikia tupigie simu. Alasi. Yeah, what happened to those particular artists? Something needs to be done. And even in the film industry, what has happened to the favorites that we used to watch back in the day? Sijui kama unakumbuka kipindi kilikuwa kinajulikana kama Kinyonga. That program used to come on KBC. What happened to the actors that we saw on those programs? Some of them are living in deplorable conditions. Walisota, wengine wameaga dunia.
I'm telling you, if you sit down with these artists and creatives in our country, you will realize that people, will call them legends. They used to be the who is who on our TV screens.
Yes.
Right now, if you look at their lives, I'm telling you, you're gonna be surprised, and you're like, okay, so don't we have a government?
Yeah.
Don't we have policies in place for to look into these matters?
Protect
protect these artists as they do their work. And that is why I have told you, I think we need if those dockets, 30 minutes can just be split, and we get people who are, because there's a lot. Our country is full of creatives, by the way.
Yeah.
Our country,
just look at TikTok
young
alone.
people are depending on talent, by the very big population.
Yeah.
So it is high time now. We need to have a government that will look into that, where we have people who really can understand this industry and can come up with policies that are going to help these people.
True. And like you rightly said earlier on, the policies that we need to put in place so that we can protect even athletes. I think who died the other day? A footballer died, and a prominent footballer from back in the day.
Yes.
You know, was it Kadenge?
No, his name is I remember he was all over on Instagram. The one who had some.
No, forget the one who had been paralyzed. There's another one, Nimkongwe. A legend, a veteran, wa kitambo sana, and how he passed on, and then the government, of course, they tried where they could. We commend them for that. Sometimes also I think it's the athlete's personal responsibility, because kuna wengine walitengeneza pesa lakini they squander that money. But I feel like we can treat our legends better and ensure the legends that we are creating right now, because in another 10-20 years there's a footballer right now we don't know of, but in another 30 years hilo jina litakuwa limevuma, tutakuwa tunasema huyu jamaa in his prime, in his time
alikuwa hivi, but now how is he right now? We have to protect them
through the policies right now, and government and also the private sector. We just need to see how we can protect players.
It is very important.
For example, right now we are hearing of complaints about local clubs not having paid salaries. Even the national team, sometimes when they go out there, we are embarrassed because wanafika huko hawana uniforms.
Wanaanza kulala kwa parking.
Sijui wengine walala kwa parking lot. Unakumbuka kuna wale walienda Nigeria wakalala kwa shule.
Imagine
a school that was on holiday. And I was like, and we have an entire ministry, guys.
And of course and as for the artists and the creatives, I think there is also a responsibility, leave alone by the government, even the users, the consumers of their creative work. We also have a responsibility, because you realize that there's a fee that you're supposed to pay. There's a license that you're supposed to get when you're playing or you're using their content. So if you have not paid, what do you expect that kitty will be? How do you expect that fund will be? Because it is through the license that you've paid, it is through the fees that you have paid, that is supposed to go and fund these people.
Actually, now that you've mentioned,
yes.
Me, I'm a very proud owner of a couple of albums. Niko na niko na album ya Nyashinski. Niko na album ya Akothee. There's a time I actually acquired disc iko na mziki wa Akothee when we used to play CDs. I also have ya jamaa anaitwa nani? Bwana Nadia Mukami. It's actually in my car right now. Arrow Boy,
yes.
Yes. You know there's a lady called Dels. Della the Dels.
Yes.
Niko na album
Della. Do you pay?
Yes. We are talking about things that are in my car. We are not talking about things that are somewhere in our
right now we are not
cabinet.
using the CD.
My car still has that.
How do you?
No, my car still has that, and
has that,
and I still have a system that has got a CD. I have a system that I bought in 2011. It still plays
That's
CD.
Okay. So now we are looking at the current music because most of people I know they are not using the CD nowadays.
Niko na mziki wa Habida. Wewe unajua Habida nani?
Yeah.
Najua kuna mtu ananisikiza yako like who is Habida? Niko na mziki wa Habida. Yes. So what I'm trying to say is let's also support local talent. Whether it's going to watch football matches at Nyayo National Stadium or Kasarani National Stadium, if it's
whether it's buying their content,
buying their music.
Yes.
They keep on giving us short codes for their skiza tunes. Have you
support that, subscribe to their music and so forth.
When they call you for a concert, you go for their concerts. So we need to do that. We need to do that so that we can ensure that we have supported them, because this is the hustle. Unaweza imagine umefungua biashara na hakuna mtu anakuja kununua vitu zako. Unauza hapo nyanya, hakuna mtu ananunua. Unauza hapo sufuria, no one wants to buy your sufuria.
Well, this also looks okay. Depends with how I'm also packaging my tomato.
Yes.
Hasa kama nimeleta tomato hapo zimepigwa na vumbi pia pale, they are not appealing.
But that's
when somebody just listen to what I'm saying, like so somebody comes, they are passing by. Kuna mwenzangu ameweka tu maji kwa hizo tomatoes zake zina shine, they are appealing. Yako umeacha hapo na vumbi yote. Umeacha na vumbi yote. How do you expect me to come and buy? So with this, I'm coming to the point of now the content, also the content that our creatives are also creating.
Right.
You get?
Yep.
So also do content that is also appealing.
Yes.
Do content that when I say that I want to purchase your content, I want to support your talent also.
It is worth the money.
It is worth the money, and it is something that si kitu nitakuwa naenda kusikiza kwa bedroom peke yangu because my kids are at the sitting room. Si kitu yenye ni like nataka kwenda kuonea kwa blanketi pale chini ya blanketi because I feel like people wataona chenye naona. You get? Also create content that is also appealing. Content that will factor in the values that we have as Africans, as Kenyans, and so forth.
And also, you as a consumer, give feedback.
Of course.
It's good to criticize. Kama umesema nyanya zako zina shine na za huyo mwingine zishine, unataka kumsupport, just go tell them, mama mboga, hizi sukuma zako kidogo zinakuanga dry sana.
Hautaki kununua tomato zangu kuja kunipatia feedback tu.
No, as I buy I give you feedback. Nikwambie, I would prefer next time if you can have tomatoes that have got a little bit of water, or if it's music, you tell the artist, tunapenda muziki wako lakini kidogo you're too vulgar, for example.
Yes.
Or you're using too much English. We prefer Swahili.
We prefer this.
Feedback is always important. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. This is where the People's Breakfast comes to an end. It's time for us to say adios. We shall be back here again bright and early tomorrow on Friday.
It's a Friday.
Yes. We'll have obviously the conversations going on here, but for now tunasema thank you so much. It's been, the first week has been absolutely awesome.
See you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Hasta luego.
All right, Mungu awabariki until tomorrow.
It's 10 o'clock.
Radio generation, the sound is fine. Pump it up, turn it high all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation. the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. Good morning, I'm